Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by CacheFly. CacheFly.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Sunday, October 19th, 2014. This is episode 1128. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Citrix Go2Assist. Go2Assist offers a secure, cloud-based solution for IT and customer support professionals to provide live and unattended remote support to their employees and customers working from any computer or mobile device. For a 30-day free trial, visit go2assist.com. And by Prosper. Prosper is a peer-to-peer lending marketplace that connects people who are looking to borrow money with those who have money to lend. Visit prosper.com/twit and receive a $50 Visa prepaid card when you get a loan. And by NatureBox. NatureBox ships great-tasting, wholesome snacks right to your door. Forget the vending machine. Start snacking smarter with wholesome, delicious treats like baked cheddar potato sticks. To get your free NatureBox sampler, go to naturebox.com/twit. That's naturebox.com/twit. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk about computers and the internet and home theater, digital photography, all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo, that's the number, 888-827-5536. That's toll-free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. And you can also call us from outside those two countries if you have Skype. That'll be free to call out. 888-827-5536. The website, techguylabs.com. Great to have you here today. It was a busy week. Google made some big announcements. Apple made some big announcements. Monday, tomorrow, for those of you listening live, tomorrow we'll see Apple Pay, the emergence of Apple Pay. I think it was Walgreens said they were going to have it going on Saturday, but I don't think they did. So I think tomorrow, if you've got the new iPhone 6, then you might want to wander around and see if you can find a store that'll let you pay with it. People are saying this is the biggest revolution ever in payments and in currency. I don't know. We'll see. Requires a complete infrastructure change. Merchants have to go out and get new tap stuff, and they have to sign up and all of that. It's going to take a little. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but it begins tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll also get the next version of iOS. Holy cow! Let me just issue a warning. If you haven't already kind of got the message here, it's okay not to install a new operating system the minute it comes out. In fact, it's probably a good idea not to. Wait until crazy people like me do it. And even then, wait a few days or weeks if you can stand it. I don't have the latest. Just hang in there, because you want to know if there's any big, what we call showstoppers. And Apple's already had a showstopper with iOS 8, a big one, a big bad one that took out Touch ID and LTE on iPhones. That was 8.01. They fixed it quickly with 8.02, but we're waiting. I would wait on 8.1. Unless you want to go into a Walgreens and pay with your phone, then maybe you need to do it. There's also a new OS 10 if you're a desktop Mac user, Yosemite. We've gone from an obscure surfing spot in Santa Cruz to the most beautiful of all the national parks, Yosemite. And it is a beautiful operating system, and I have installed it now on all my Macs. I don't recommend you rush to do it. There are people reporting some problems. Wait. My friend Alex Lindsay, who uses, it's my job to use this stuff, but if you use it for work, he uses his Macs for video production, and you can't afford to be down or have something break. And so his policy, and I think this is probably a reasonable policy, is to not install the operating system when it first comes out, not even to install the first update. He says install the second update that fixes the problems the first update created. By the second update, you probably should be all right. And that, with Apple, is usually within a couple of weeks. We're already in the third update for iOS 8, for instance, in less than a month. So wait a little bit. I wouldn't rush out. Apple people particularly, but I think in general, computer users and smartphones users, we like to get the updates. Google will be updating Android soon, too. They announced this week that they are going from the current version of Android, Kit Kat. Yes, it's named after a candy bar. All the Android versions are named after desserts. We had Cupcake, Donut. It's alphabetic. A and B, I think we're just alpha and beta. Then Cupcake, Donut, Eclair, Froyo. Not a good choice. Froyo. I like Froyo, but not a good name for an operating system. Then Gingerbread was G. H was Honeycomb, Ice Cream Sandwich, Jelly Bean. Now we're on Kit Kat, and the next version, I guess they couldn't get a deal with Lifesavers or somebody else to give them money like they did with Hershey's to call it Kit Kat, so they're just going to call it the generic Lollipop. Lollipop, iOS or Android 5.0. And it's a whole new look. So again, this is something I wouldn't rush to get, although I know most Android phone users would if they could. Usually you get stopped, you get blocked by you get Android blocked by the carrier. Verizon, especially slow, AT&T, Sprint, T-Mobile. But many of the more recent Nexus phones will get it for the Nexus 4, the Nexus 5. They've announced the Nexus 6, which will be out, well, you can order it by the end of the month, they say. I don't know when it'll be available in stores. That'll be on all the carriers. That's called, the code name for that was Shamu. After the killer whale, Shamu. That's because it's a 6-inch screen. That is big. I think that's about as big as you can get on a phone. In other countries where the customs are different, they have had 7-inch phones. But in the U.S., 6 inches, I think we're done. I hope we're done. 6 inches. That's the Nokia 1520 is 6 inches. That's nice. It's a nice size. It's a tablet, really, at that point. And isn't that really what the story is that these phones are no longer phones, really. They're cameras, certainly, and that's why Apple has such great cameras, and they've upgraded the cameras in all the Android phones. In fact, the Galaxy Note 4, which comes out this week, apparently has an amazing camera. And then they're computers. More than anything, they're always connected, internet-connected computers. Always on, always available for you to do searches and check in with your friends and so forth. That's really what they are. So a bigger screen makes sense, as long as you can get it in some pocket of some kind. Men are going to start carrying purses, I predict. I got one. I got a European carry-all, a.k.a. a purse. I didn't bring it today, but I have brought it in before. It's great. It's leather, so it's manly. Well, I guess, anyway. It's it's sort of manly. It looks like a pouch, like a messenger bag. But I need it now because I've got these devices. They're getting so big. And you don't want to sit on them. We know that from the iPhone bend gate. It's a European carry-all. A man purse. It's not a fanny pack. No. In fact, I think a lot of these big phones, they wouldn't even fit in a fanny pack. They're big. 6-inch phone. That's like a slab of glass. I can, and I usually do carry my phone in my front shirt pocket, and I can still fit a 6-inch phone in there. I am told by reliable sources that fashion designers, are now increasing the size of the pockets on the high fashion, the Coutier designs, so that they'll accommodate an iPhone 6 Plus. Well, if Apple does it, it must be good. We will make the pockets bigger. This is all the big haute couture places are making bigger pockets now to accommodate these giant phones. Ken Shabby says the problem isn't big phones, it's small pockets. Exactly. Apple is smart. Apple hired people from the fashion industry. Their new vice president of retail used to be the CEO at Burberry's. She took a staid English raincoat company, with the plaid, and made the Burberry plaid hip and fashionable and with it. And so Apple hired her. And apparently being a vice president at Apple trumps being a CEO anywhere else. They've hired people from all the fashion houses. Yves Saint Laurent, a former VP at Yves Saint Laurent, is now at Apple. I think Apple realizes they've kind of come to the end of the line for technology, haven't we? Isn't this stuff what they call mature? It's as good. It's, pretty much 90% of as good as it's going to get. And everything now is just a little bit of. Look at the new iPad, just a little bit better. In fact, the iPad Mini is not improved at all. It's the same iPad with Touch ID. They didn't even update that one. They didn't bother. They said, slap a fingerprint reader on it. We'll ship it. We'll call it good. This is a mature industry. So now, what happens in a mature industry? What happened to cars in the 50s? Fins. Now it's all decor to get you to buy the new one. 8888 Ask Leo. Let's talk about it. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yves Saint Laurent, Cartier, Chanel. Here at the Tech Guy Labs, we do everything in the cloud. And of course, what did they say was the #1 attribute of the new iPad? Faster processor, no. Better screen, no. Better camera, no. Those are in there. But the thing that they said, the most important thing, it's thinner. What is that? Does that sound familiar? That's fashion. It's thinner. Yeah, the Nexus Player is now up for pre-order because they got FCC approval. Took them a couple of days. You like my audio, James? I can work a mic with the best of them. Apple did not change the Retina at all, the Mini with Retina at all, as far as I can tell, except they didn't put a new processor in, they didn't put more RAM in. We don't know. They don't talk about RAM, which means they're embarrassed. When you don't talk about something, it's because it embarrasses you, right? They're embarrassed to admit they don't have much RAM in those things. All right, how are we doing? Well, it's getting there. About 8 minutes remaining. Probably was foolish of me to try to do this. I agree with you. Y Guy says, I want a thicker device. Give me a bigger device with better battery life. I'm with you. I don't hear anybody asking for a thinner iPad. If you're blue and you don't know where to go to, why don't you go where fashion sits? Another it's. This guy's name is Taco. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I could be the tech taco. Maybe I should change the name, the tech taco. What do you think, Heather Hammond? You're the phone ranger. I could be the tech taco.
I think that's a great idea.
I want to try that out.
Yeah.
Tech taco, Leo Laporte. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
Crunchy shell. Meaty inside.
Heather, are you feeling a little better? You were you got to have the cold. You have that cold going around, don't you?
Oh, is it going around?
Oh, yeah. Everybody's got it. Yeah. I hope you feel a little better. It's cold in the studio. I apologize. You were dressed for summer, which it is outside. In here, it's winter. It's 69 degrees. It's freezing in here.
We're chopping up pigs and cows. And
yes.
putting them on the hooks.
That's right. Welcome to the Tech Meat Locker. What can I do? How should I begin the show? You have lined up for me, I see, 6 fabulous contestants. Who should I bring down first?
I know you love this type of question.
Yes.
We have to help Terry in Apple Valley choose a device.
I love to spend people's money. Terry in Apple Valley, come on down. Hi, Terry. Leo Laporte.
Hi, Leo. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for taking my call. Oh, good. I'm so glad I got a hold of you. Okay, this is
Okay.
I'm in public relations. I work for a very small nonprofit. I do not have a smartphone. But what I'm finding is I maybe could use a tablet, and this is why. There's times when I need to check my email when I'm not in front of my computer. I have a paper calendar, but it's big, and I can't always carry it with me. So I was thinking about getting Outlook where I could sync it. Also, when I'm taking notes, I have tons of papers everywhere. I'm thinking if I had a tablet, I could take all my notes on that. And also, I want to be able to read ebooks, but I have a PC, a Dell laptop. Do I go with the iPad? Do I go with the Android? And I don't necessarily want to buy a data plan. I'm thinking about using hotspots, and I'm technologically challenged.
I think you want to join the 21st century.
Can you help me?
Yeah, and I don't think a tablet necessarily is right now. So
Okay.
you might really. So you have a cell phone. It's just not a big smartphone.
No, it's just a very bottom of the
It's a
line
flip phone.
Samsung Bright Star.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think a tablet probably. Well, here's a nice thing about the newer smartphones, the big ones, is that they really do double duty. They are phones. You can carry them in your purse or a large pocket. And they do all that stuff that you could put a reader. They're big enough that you could actually read books on them. I do all the time.
Oh.
You can put the Kindle software on there and read books on them. They're certainly going to replace your calendar, your to-do list, your notes, all of that stuff. Here's a couple of things I would look at. One is a Galaxy Note 4 from Samsung.
Okay.
This is a almost 6-inch phone that has a beautiful high-res screen and has a stylus in it. So some of the things that you do already, like handwritten notes, you could actually literally do still on the phone.
Okay, I like that.
So what you should do, let me get the dimension. I should get the dimensions of the phone. I don't have them in front of me. But what you could do is cut out a piece of paper of those dimensions and just kind of think about it. Well, what would it feel like to write on that? What would it feel? By the way, it's an infinite pad, isn't it? In fact, the Galaxy Note will even, if you write carefully, translate your handwritten text into computer text, which you could email or put on your computer. It would do a great job with your calendar. I wouldn't recommend. I'd stay away from Outlook because Outlook isn't real compatible. I would just do everything in Google. No matter what you get, whether it's an iPhone, a Windows phone, a little less so on a Windows phone, but an iPhone or an Android phone, they will sync up with the Google stuff, which is Google Notes. It's called Keep, Google Calendar, Google Contacts, so all your address book is in there, and it will sync up with your desktop. Google also has word processing and spreadsheets, and all of that stuff is stored on the servers, the Google servers, so that your computer can see it and your phone can see it, and they synchronize automatically, transparently.
Okay.
So it's nice because you take a note on your Galaxy Note 4, for instance, and then it's saved, and it's also visible now on your desktop anytime you want to see it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and vice versa.
Now, how do I sync that up then?
It does it automatically. So you'll start using the Google services for your note-taking, for your word processing, and all of that. And I think you'll find it really works well. There's also there's another app that I use. Chat room's reminding me, Evernote, which I've recommended for years, which is a third-party app. Same thing. Does the note-taking on the desktop and on the laptop and on the phone and on the tablet. In fact, really, your experience with a tablet and the phone will be very similar. The only question is if the phone screen is big enough for you. I think a phone is more practical. A tablet, you're probably not going to pop in your pocket.
Correct.
But a phone, you would have it with you all the time. And I have to tell you, it is really valuable to have it with you all the time.
Yes, it is. No, I agree. And I'm tired of having 12 different things.
And you see something you want to remember, you take a picture of it. Do you ever use Facebook or any of the social networks at all to keep in touch?
I use Facebook for the Humane Society. I update their Facebook, and I just started that 2 years ago.
Perfect.
So I'm still not real good at that.
Imagine that you're at the Humane Society, you see a lovely dog that's available for adoption, you take a beautiful picture of it, and now you post it on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. You will have somebody adopting that pet in moments, and that's the kind of thing you can do with an always connected system with a great camera and all of that. So the Note 4 is, who's your cell phone company right now?
Verizon.
Okay. The Note 4 is coming out on Verizon this week.
Oh, it's brand new.
Yeah, it's brand new, just came out. Mine comes tomorrow, or I would show it to you on the radio. I'd hold it up to the microphone, but I can't.
Darn.
I hear very good things about it. It's an amazing camera in there. I think it's going to be a very good device, the size. There are many other choices for you. Of course, you could use an iPhone. The 6 Plus is 5.5 inches. There's the new Google phone, which is probably the one I'm going to end up with, but I don't know enough about it, and it's not out for a few more weeks. They call it the Nexus 6, same size. But I think for you, what you just described, I would go into your Verizon store and say, hey, I need to upgrade. Will you show me the Note 4?
Got it. Okay.
And we call them phablets because they're phone tablets. They're as big as a tablet almost.
Oh, okay.
But more convenient.
Got it.
You see what I'm saying? I mean, having a camera and always online and all that stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and that was the other thing was I needed a camera. This will take the place of that when I'm at events because my husband is a freelance photographer on the side, but his cameras are so big.
He has the big camera. You let him take the super megapixel pictures, and you will be nimble, fast, and quick. And by the way, the camera in that Note 4 is spectacular.
Oh, excellent.
It's not as good as, hubby's
Sure.
DSLR,
Right.
but, as he will grudgingly admit to you, it ain't the camera. it's being in the right place at the right time with any camera. And these are good cameras. They do a very nice job. I think you'll have fun. Now, the thing to be aware of is it's a computer. It's not a simple device. It's not a simple phone. It's a computer. You're going to have to learn it just as you learned your computer.
Okay.
But as long as you understand that, I think you'll be fine with it. And boy, the functionality is going to be great for you, Terry.
Thank you so much, Leo. You're awesome.
Thank you for calling. I appreciate it. You are awesome. No, you. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I know. I'm sad I don't have mine yet. It was supposed to come, but it was supposed to come Friday. So how do you like it? Can't pre-order the Nexus 6 yet. I don't want the 9 particularly. I think tablets are done. I am of the growing opinion that tablets have seen better days. If you need a large screen, yeah, but I would prefer to carry a somewhat smaller screen in my pocket and have that always with me, and just and okay, if I need to, I can squint, get closer. I just feel like these are. Well, ebooks are fine on the. I'm here. I've entered the Yosemite zone. What is going on? I don't understand. It's already giving me weird cosmetic glitches. I have a hard time loving Apple these days. Oh, that's not my password. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. I made the mistake of making my Apple password long and complicated. Forgetting that I have to enter it every 5 seconds in iOS and OS 10. Tablets have a niche. Absolutely. They're a niche, though, I think. For a while, we were really excited about them as being the future of computing. And now I think it's just really all boiled down to the phone. I really do. It's not perfect. It's small, hard to type on, as I'm experiencing right now. But the convenience and the always on the internet, always available thing is great. All right, here is my ridiculously long password, which I'm never going to memorize because it's like 30 characters. Completely random. Guaranteed to be impossible to enter. But this way, nobody's going to get nude pictures of me. Not that they would want them. Yes, I agree. See, but that's only the first time. I think I'm going to have to enter it 3 more times, unfortunately. Okay, that's 1. I know. Setting up my Mac. Setting up your Mac. Setting up your Mac. Yeah, I know. That's why I have multiple devices with LastPass on them, so I can whip out my phone and then enter that. All right, I think it's... Is it done? Is it done? I'm going to get rid of Quicksilver because Spotlight now does the Quicksilver thing. My Note 4 is unlocked international. You won't want it because it doesn't do LTE in the US. I wanted an unlocked one. Does LastPass have NFC Bluetooth support? No. does not, I don't believe. You can get reasonably sized phones. There's lots. The Samsung Alpha. There are lots of smaller phones. You know, I think 4.7 inches is actually the right size, but I like that big stuff. They said available for pre-order on the Nexus 6 by the end of the month. Don't know when it'll be out. Does not have the Edge. I didn't get the Edge version. I got the Exynos. That's right, Lollipop.
That's why I highly recommend and use Citrix Go to Assist.
Oh,
the number
I
one
love
global
Go to
market leader
Assist.
in remote.
Well, I don't know why he's talking so fast.
Who is this charming smart man?
I don't know. He's talking very quickly about Go to Assist. I love Go to Assist. It's funny. He knows his stuff, that guy, whoever that guy is. Go to Assist is a lot. In fact, I know a lot of IT providers, support providers, managed service providers who use Go to Assist. It's a cloud-based toolbox for a remote support. Everybody probably knows about, you know, the remote support angle. It is the #1 remote support solution in the world. But Go to Assist does more than that. It's easy to use for you, easy to use for your clients. It allows you to manage the service desk, to optimize your workflow. It's really a nice solution. And we've arranged for a 30-day free trial. How about that? You can screen share with your employees to diagnose and fix their support problems. You can deliver support, even unattended support, from anywhere, anytime, using your iPhone, your iPad, your Android device. You'll be setting it up in less than a minute. So will your client. I use this with my mom, so that tells you it's easy. It's easy to use. Right now, I want you to try Go to Assist. You get a 30-day free trial. You don't need to give them a credit card. You don't need to sign a contract or anything. Just 30 days free. They're just putting it out there. They know you're going to like it. Just visit gotoassist.com. See that blue Try It Free button? Click it. I don't even have an offer code for you or anything. Wait a minute, I do. Oh, this is good. This is something new. After the free trial, just remember and write this down. If you decide to purchase Go to Assist before the end of the month, before October 31st, so you could try it free for 30 days, but you know, you'll probably know within a week if this is something you want. Use our promo code GoToAssist3030. Note this down because this is only going to last for a couple more weeks. GOTO Assist 3030, 3030, and you'll get 30% off the standard monthly rate. That is a good deal. GoToAssist.com. Try it free. And if you buy before the end of the month, go to Assist 3030 to get 30% off. That is a great deal. Go to Assist. We love it. You will too. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I know I'm perhaps, I think you may argue with me, and you can. 8888 Ask Leo. Please do. But I am currently of the opinion that in just a matter of, you know, maybe a year or two, people won't be buying tablets anymore. I mean, look, the tablets are not inspiring anymore. The new iPad, I don't feel like the need to rush out and get the new iPad. Touch ID, what am I going to use that for? You know, faster processor, no one seems fine to me. I think increasingly as the phones, I think the phones have hit 6 inches, 5.5 to 6 inches is big enough. And it really obviates the need for a tablet. I admit there are places where you'd want a tablet. And just like there are places where you'd want the Kindle e-ink screen, you know, the one that that's paper, looks like paper, that's great at the beach. There are times when you would want that. But for most of the time, first of all, who's going to buy 8 different devices for 8 different, you know, environments? You're going to get one, right? And you're going to get the one that seems to do the job in most cases. And that, to me, is the large smartphone. That's the computer of the future, I think. Let me know. You can disagree or agree. Jason in Warren, New Jersey's next. Hi, Jason. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. Thank you. So I actually want a big smartphone also. So I'm upgrading from a Galaxy S3 on Sprint. And the problem is where I am, only AT&T gets a signal, but I love my unlimited data.
Yes. Yes.
So
nobody wants to give you unlimited. Notice how everybody wants you to stop using unlimited data, and they're doing all sorts of things like they're offering to double the amount of data. And Verizon, if you don't pay the full freight for the phone, if you take a subsidized phone, that's it on your unlimited data. AT&T, you have to be very careful on the unlimited data because they'll take it away from you at a drop of a hat. The CEO of AT&T said the biggest mistake I ever made was offering unlimited data when the iPhone first came out. They wish they could get rid of all of you unlimited data types. So you might as well just get used to the idea, Jason. You're going to be limited. Now the good news is you probably don't use as much as you think. How much do you know how much data you use?
average consumption's over 4 gigs.
4? Okay, so get a 5 gig plan.
But the thing is that I'm looking, I see like Cricket and all of them offer unlimited still. They just throttle you back.
Yeah, it's not unlimited. It's throttled after a certain amount.
Which is fine with me, but my thing is I want, something like a Note 4, but they don't seem to offer it. So I'm curious.
T-Mobile.
T-Mobile?
Yeah, T-Mobile has unlimited data, and I'm pretty sure they're offering the Note 4.
Yeah, my problem with T-Mobile is where I am.
Yeah, it has to work where you are.
2G.
Yeah, so you have to see. Yeah, 2G's not enough. 3G, HSPA Plus, which is their 3G, probably is. My Note 4, the one I got was the international one, and so it doesn't do LTE in the U.S. And so I'm going to live with T-Mobile HSPA Plus. But my experience has been okay. So yeah, you have to go with it. In fact, you choose the carrier first. I think that's the most important thing. If you don't have connectivity, it doesn't matter if you have unlimited data plan. You need the connectivity first. So who's best in your neighborhood?
It's AT&T because they just moved, going off of Sprint. But everywhere but my neighborhood, Sprint works fine. Places I get 4G, but I'm just on the edge of town, so it goes to nothing.
Yeah. So you've got to figure out the places you go, what will be the best. If it's your home, that sometimes you can get around by getting a microcell. That's what AT&T calls them. They're technically called femto cells. The idea is it uses your home internet bandwidth to provide a kind of a mini cell tower in your house. And those work pretty well. And sometimes you can get the phone company if you say, hey, look, this works great. I really want to be on AT&T, but I just can't get you in my house. They'll say, well, we'll give you a microcell. Sometimes they'll give you one. And then
do that with Sprint?
I bet you can, sure. If Sprint works great everywhere but your house, that might be a solution.
That makes my decision very easy. If I can
call them and ask them. Say, I need a femto or a microcell. Do you have any way? Just say, hey, I really want to be a Sprint customer. Gosh, I like you guys. I'd probably be a customer forever. If only it worked in my house. See what they say. See what they say. Because, remember, these companies, they want to make you a customer because long-term, because how much do they make off of you? Thousands a year. So, and it's an annuity, right? It just keeps on giving. Once they get you sucked in, nobody really wants to change their carrier. So carriers, this is true of a lot of things. Anything that you pay monthly, they're doing the math. The cost of acquiring a customer can be very high if they've got that customer in the pipeline and they're getting paid every month. Cable companies do it. Everybody does it. Phone companies certainly do it. So yeah, figure out who you want as a carrier first. Sprint will have the Galaxy Note 4. Now people are listening to me and saying, Leo, are you recommending the Galaxy Note 4? Remember, all my recommendations are highly customized. I listen and I give you, because truthfully, I'm not a Samsung fan. I don't like all this TouchWiz stuff they do. They change Android too much for my personal taste. But that's just me. For somebody who, like our previous caller, who wanted to use a notepad and the kinds of things she wanted to do, the stylus on the Note 4 makes a lot of sense for her. Makes a lot of sense. Somebody in the chat room says, you're going to be left behind. Apple Pay is going to take over the world, and you're going to be left behind. I'll take that chance. See, Apple just put NFC in the most recent phones, put this little NFC chip, the near field communications chip, in its phone. Every other manufacturer's been doing it for a while. So what's going to happen, I believe, is that Apple, you know, having finally decided to join the rest of us, that means now everybody has NFC. So now touch to pay, it can happen. Merchants don't want to just sell to Apple phone users. That's not a big enough universe. It's only about half of the people that come in the store are Apple users. They want to sell to 100%. So they're going to look for a solution when they upgrade that works with everything. That works with Google Wallet, works with the Verizon has its own wallet. It used to be called ISIS. I can't remember, the Safe and Sure or something. They have a new name, obviously. A merchant, think about it. Put yourself in their position. They don't want to turn away a customer because I'm sorry, you have to have an iPhone. That's not going to work. So they're going to put in a solution, and all of these solutions will be like this, that will work with all phones. Now, admittedly, you don't have the fingerprint reader on anything but the iPhone and the Galaxy phones. But that's okay. It'll say, what's your PIN? You enter a 4-digit PIN, and you're good. I don't think that's much harder than pressing my thumb against a Touch ID. So don't feel left out. Apple Pay is just the thing that pushes us over the bump. It isn't the only way to do it. It's going to make it all possible. And this is exciting, I think. I agree. You know, I would love to leave the credit cards behind. They're not secure. Adam in Derry, Ireland, or I'm sorry, it's Aiden. Hi, Aiden.
Hello, Leo.
How are you? Welcome. Good to know you're listening in Ireland.
Big fan, Leo. I've been listening to you for years.
Thank you. What can I do for you?
Changed from Windows to Mac about 2 months ago. I hated Windows 8, so I wanted to change. But I got a time capsule as well, and every time I try to mount it, it takes ages for it to mount. And transferring files, I have to use Parallels.
Yeah. Hang on a second. We have to take a break. I know you're in Ireland. I hope you're on Skype, so it's not costing you anything. We'll talk a little bit about the idea of networked drives when we come back. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Say?
You get a lot of time capsule calls.
Well, I wouldn't buy a time capsule if I were you.
It's like Windows.
Yeah, that's all right. It's all right. We'll figure it out here.
Are you ready for our thinking about lunch?
I have lunch. Lisa and I made soup last night.
Oh, you're having the soup too?
We're having the soup.
Alrighty then.
Our own homemade soup.
Now, I will check with that.
Yeah, and people are saying, well, Apple's secure. You know, anything is going to be more secure than the system we're using now, which is swipe and sign. So if you are you using a credit card today and you're all worried, oh, I'm not going to use Google because it's not secure. I mean, come on. Come on. Come on. Get real. Get real. All right, I guess I've Yosemitized. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? It's obviously Greece. I don't know if it's Santorini or where. No, I don't want this. What is going on? Go away. I don't want my little task viewer. I think it's a Quicksilver thing. No. Quicksilver is unhappy. It should be unhappy. I don't know what my IQ is. I don't want to know. My son kept asking, what's my IQ? I said, Henry, what does it matter what your IQ is? You're as smart as you are. Don't worry about your IQ.
I'm so impressed. You know, they tell me I'm smarter than 97%.
I think you probably have a very high IQ. Yes, sir.
No, I don't. But the thing is, I listen to you, and your scope of knowledge is mind-boggling.
Thank you. That's very kind of you. I think it's, I can't remember, okay, you say that, but then I can't remember something obvious. So, so I think it's, you remember the stuff you're most interested in, don't you? And I look at chess players who can play 20 blindfold games simultaneously is because they see the board in a way that we don't, you know, it's in their head, and it's because that's what they do. So this is all I do all day. So what may look like prodigious feats of memory, it's merely I'm swimming in it. That's mainly it. But thank you. I don't know what my IQ is. I never found out. and I don't want to know. It's because there's only two ways that can go. Either it's depressing, or you get a swole head.
Well, I figure it's about 180.
Wow, that would be genius level. Yeah, I don't think I'm a genius. I think I'm intelligent. People tell me I'm smart, but I don't want to get a big head about it because I'm dumb in a lot of things. I'm really dumb in a lot of things. I have a good memory, and it's getting worse, unfortunately. It's going downhill. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 88. I'm sorry, the tech taco. Already, I forgot my new name. 8888, ask Leo. That's the number, 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S., Canada. If you're outside of the area, like, I don't know, maybe in Derry, Ireland, you could just use Skype. Is that what you're using, Aiden?
I am, yeah.
Yep. Love that Skype, don't you?
Oh, it's great, so it is.
It's amazing. We can make phone calls all over the world for free. It's a remarkable thing. So you switched from Windows to Macintosh. At the same time as you did that, you bought something that Apple sells called a time capsule. And what it is it's an airport router, Wi-Fi router, Airport Extreme Wi-Fi router. And when they built them, the new routers, they build them like towers. And if you opened up an airport router, you'd see all this empty space in here. That's room for a hard drive. So what you bought was the airport router with a hard drive installed in it. And they call that the time capsule because you use it with the software on the Macintosh called Time Machine for backup. Or you could just use it as a network-attached storage device. And that sounds like what you're doing because you're copying files to it. Is that right?
Yeah, I use it for both. So I use it for Time Machine and I use it for NAS storage as well.
Yeah.
But it works great with Windows, so it does. No problem getting connected through Windows. It's just on the Mac.
Isn't that funny? It should work.
I enjoy it a lot.
So understand that there are a number of network protocols. The one that most people just use is the Windows one. It's called SMB. And SMB is kind of the lingua franca, the language that everybody uses. It's like English. It's the language everybody uses as a default. But Apple has its own AFP file protocol, and that's based on the older Apple Talk. So it may be that you can look at. I think you can look on the time capsule at what protocols it's using. I would turn them all on. And if you're having, are you copying it over Wi-Fi, or is it hardwired?
Yeah, over Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
It's a MacBook Pro.
So the thing to remember with Wi-Fi is that they give you, when they talk about the speed of Wi-Fi, they give you what we call the nominal speed. That is the speed it will never get to. That's the best it can do. Divide the nominal speed in half. So if you're on 802.11b, for instance, I think the nominal speed was 10 megabits, you'd get 5. That would be what you would normally get. So divide it in half. I can't remember. N is faster, and if you have a newer time capsule and a newer laptop, you can do AC, which is faster still. Nevertheless, you just divide it in half. So maybe you're expecting more than you're going to get. What kind of speeds are you getting?
It's not the speed. It just times out.
When it gives up. Connect. Yeah. Okay, that's a file protocol thing. So it works just fine with Windows. That's because it's using SMB. Go into the settings. Make sure you've turned on the Apple protocols. It'll work better.
No problem. Works great as a router. It's just as a NAS storage, I was disappointed a little bit.
It's nice. The new Yosemite. Have you updated the Yosemite yet on your laptop?
Oh, yeah. Just installed it on Friday there.
Now it supports SMB3, which is the newest SMB. It's what we're using in the studio. SMB3 on Ethernet on Cat6 is capable of a gigabyte a second, 10 gigabits a second. It's amazing. But I would so turn on SMB3, see if the time capsule supports that. If not, AFP, Apple File Protocol.
No problem. A little tip for you as well.
Sure.
If on the Mac, if you use an app called Unclutter, I just save my password on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just save my password on there, and then I can just copy and paste it anytime I use it.
Unclutter.
Yeah, it just pulls down like a little notepad from the top.
Oh, I'm going to try it.
I just save my big long password on there along with a whole load of letters, so nobody knows it's a password.
It's like a notebook. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's neat.
that's cool.
Try one of the password managers. I think you'll be happy with LastPass, Dashlane. 1Password is very popular on Mac. You can use a notebook to write down your password. Just remember that if somebody has access to your machine, you're dead anyway. It doesn't really matter. But I personally prefer LastPass for my passwords. It also generates passwords. See, it sounds to me with Unclutter that you have one password that you use everywhere. Don't do that. Because if one company gets compromised, if bad guys get into one of those servers, the first thing the bad guys do, and this was the recent, people were talking about getting hacked on Dropbox, and it wasn't they'd been hacked on Dropbox, but that they used the same password on Dropbox that they used elsewhere, and the bad guys got the other stuff, and they tried it on password. So you have, on Dropbox, so you have different passwords on every, I know it's a pain, that's why you use a password manager. It's a lot easier to have one password that you use everywhere, but it's not very safe. So use a password manager. LastPass is the one I use. Dashlane's very good. A lot of people use that. 1Password's very good. A lot of people use that. And then let it generate unique and tough passwords for every site, everything you use a password for. And it'll remember them for you. Then you only have to remember it like in 1Password, but that 1Password's the password to unlock your vault. Lori, Los Angeles, you're next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Lori.
Oh, hi, Leo.
Welcome. What can I do for you?
Well, my 14-year-old son buys games, and we've been getting all these advertisement spams on his Gmail.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if it's okay to click the link for unsubscribe.
No, don't bother. So here's the thing with spam. They didn't. It depends if it's spam or bacon. As long as we're going pork products, let's go all the way. Spam is unsolicited commercial email. The word unsolicited. You didn't ask for it. You didn't want it. Your son, when he's downloading stuff, may be checking, in fact, probably is checking the box that says, keep me up to date, keep me informed with offers, that kind of thing. You've probably seen those, too, when you sign up for Pinterest or whatever. There's a checkbox that says, keep me informed. That's bacon, not spam. I don't know what bacon stands for, but the idea is that's stuff you did sign up for, but you don't really want. It's not unsolicited. You agreed to it, but you don't really want it. Bacon, legitimate bacon, will always have an unsubscribe link at the very bottom, and will honor that. Spam might put that there, but they won't honor it. Remember, with a spammer, they're looking for a live one. They don't know. They have literally databases with literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of email addresses, many of which are bogus or wrong or out of date. So they're really looking to validate those. So if a true spam, unsolicited commercial email message has a unsubscribe button in it, just as likely, that's just, if you click it, they'll go, oh, good, this is a real address. It just confirms that you exist, and they're not going to honor any unsubscribe request. So you see the difference? If he signed up for a newsletter, let's say he signed up for Steam, and he said, yeah, and I want Steam promotional stuff. And by the way, that's probably why you're getting it. Gmail's very good at getting rid of spam. But what they don't do is get rid of solicited, undesired correspondence, bacon, because you asked for it. So they don't get rid of it. So in that case, unsubscribe would be a good idea. And it usually is honored, or not always. There is a setting in Gmail you might want to look at that will automatically categorize those messages into a promotional folder, which you can ignore. So you might want to turn that on. But nothing to worry about. But be careful. You don't want to click links in spam of any kind. That's dangerous. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hang on for a sec. I don't want to give you short shrift, Lori. We had to take a break for the news at the top of the hour. So you're still there, Lori?
Yeah, I'm still here.
So we're off the radio, but we're still on the podcast. So, but it sounded like you had more questions. So go ahead.
No, I just was clicking links and unsubscribing, and I was thinking, you're not supposed to click links. So how I was thinking this isn't that safe.
You kind of have to look at it and judge: is this real or not? If it's from Steam or Electronic Arts or Pinterest, and you can, you're pretty sure it is, then those unsubscribe links will be not only safe, but they'll be honored. But what you got to be careful, if you click an unsubscribe link and it asks for credentials, for instance, don't do that.
Okay. So do you just let them go into your junk folder and then every now and then just delete it all?
Yeah, let me see if I can tell you the settings, because this is what Gmail does really, really well, and not everybody has it turned on. I don't know if it goes on by default or not. So let me open my Gmail and I can tell you where to go.
Okay, great.
Because it really is a nice feature. So it's automatic categorization, and Gmail will automatically categorize into primary, which is the stuff that you probably want, social, which is stuff from Twitter and Facebook, basically stuff you agreed to get but don't want, promotions, which is those email, newsletters and ads and stuff, updates, which are things that you probably do want to read. So you turn that on. In the settings, under that gear, in the right-hand corner that says settings, let me see if I can do this. I think there is. See, I just upgraded my operating system, and everything's kind of unresponsive. But under settings,
I know, I do too.
I know, and now everything's just like, what do you want? I'm busy. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, under settings, there is a turn on categorization or something like that. And,
okay, and that's in the
Gmail. There's a gear. Click on that. I think it's very obvious. Use categorized email boxes or something like that. I can't remember. I wish I could remember. Let me see.
Okay.
Let me see. Safari might be more. Oh no, it wants me to log in. Yeah, Chrome is suddenly unresponsive. Anyway, you get the idea. How old's your son?
He's 14.
Yeah. We have an 11-year-old who's always signing up for stuff. And the best thing to do is to lock the system down so that he can't install stuff. That's the big risk.
Right. I try to get him to be careful. He keeps saying, no, I didn't sign up for anything.
Yeah. I've heard that one. Yeah, it's under the settings. It says configure inbox. And what you'll want to do is select the tabs to enable, and one that you absolutely want is promotions. That's where, and you'll even see examples. That's where it'll put those, anything with a subscribe link will go in promotions.
Okay. So is that when I have to go to gmail.com and go to mail and look in the settings?
Yeah, go in your mail. There's a gear on the settings and then a configure inbox item in settings. And that's where you turn that on. And I would turn them all on, because basically what it is automatic sorting.
Okay.
And all of the stuff you don't really want to see will go in promotions, and then you can just ignore it from then on.
Okay.
And they do it. You know what they do to make promotion, the people who are sending you this stuff happy? They do a special Pinterest-style page where the promotions show up as like little ads. You still can ignore them, but I think that's their tit for tat. Well, okay, we'll categorize it as junk mail, but we'll make it very pretty.
Okay.
I think you'll. Gmail's very good at blocking spam. I think you can mostly trust Gmail.
Yeah, I've heard you talk about that before. So yeah.
That's good. It's a good system for a kid.
Great.
Thanks, Lori.
Thank you, Leo.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
And if you don't want it, turn it off. You don't have to have it. He doesn't have to have it. All right, my computer is now responding, sort of. Keep Chrome. I can fix this one thing that's been bugging me, which is that I can't show the chat room in number 8. It's still Studio Wine. I want it to be Chat-O-Matic. There you go. Now you can see it. H-bomb. I don't want Skype. I guess I gotta leave Skype. Mac. Okay, that's good. Yeah. Omega Project, he says, take away the computer and give him a hammer, nails, and 2x4s. Let him build something, dang it. Hey, our show today brought to you by Prosper. I forgot to mention this. This is good. I love Prosper.com. Prosper is Silicon Valley's answer to the big bank loan. It's a great idea. It's called peer-to-peer lending. It's only recently that you could even do this, I think. But the idea of Prosper is it's an online marketplace that brings people with money to lend together with people who need money. What would you do if you could get $35,000 in the next 72 hours? What would you do with it? Would you pay off your high rate? Think about that. Pay off the high rate interest credit cards? Yes. It'd be nice to get rid of those, wouldn't it? Have one single payment, consolidate all of that at a low rate. Little home improvement. Always start a business. What about that? Prosper.com. You fill out a very straightforward online application. You just give them a few details. It will not affect your credit score to get a rate online. And these are low fixed rates. It's an unsecured personal loan, so you don't have to do any collateral. Multi-year terms are available. Based on your credit rating, you can get up to $35,000 at a very affordable rate. This has been such a success. They have 2 million members now, lenders and borrowers alike. Over $1 billion in funded loans. Isn't this great? It is a revolution, frankly. Prosper, Prosper, prosper.com/twit. Check your rate. It will not affect your credit score. And if you decide to get that loan, we'll give you a $50 Visa prepaid card as a thank you. That's for a limited time. Go to prosper.com/twit. That's a special site for you. Up to $35,000 in just 3 days, and the $50 Visa prepaid card at prosper.com/twit. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy, or tech taco. You take your pick. 8888 Ask Leo, that's the phone number. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S., Canada. Howard on the line from Chatsworth, California. That's where all the hard drives used to be made, in Chatsworth.
Yeah, now they make different things out here now.
Now they're all made in Japan and China and Korea, and yeah.
Exactly. I got a question for you. I have an iMac 27-inch. It's about 2 years old, and I was reading that Apple is coming out with a new operating system upgrade called Yosemite, and
Yes.
I was wondering if you heard anything about if it would be worth upgrading that.
I'm using it on all my Macs, but my advice in general is to not install the operating system the minute it comes out. Yosemite came out Thursday.
Right.
I'd wait a week, watch the trade press, Apple Insider, 9 to 5 Mac, Macworld, all of the websites, and see if they report any big problems. Some people are reporting Wi-Fi issues, stuff like that. Those can generally be avoided by not rushing to do the operating system upgrade. One piece of advice that my friend who uses computers for work, as opposed to me, I use them for fun, he can't afford to have the computer go down. He says, I always wait, not for the first update, but for the update that fixes the bugs introduced by the first update. So the second update. So wait for OS 10, 10.10.1.1, the second update. And then by then it's usually, they've ironed out all the bugs.
How much on the average, you think? What, a couple of months, you think?
Not even that long. A month.
Oh.
You'll know in the first week if there are problems because people will start howling. And most of the time when there are problems, it happens to a small percentage of people. But even 1% of 1 million people is 100, is a significant, it's 10,000 people. So it doesn't take much.
Right. But I never did put in Mavericks or nothing like that.
Yeah, I think Mavericks was actually skippable, as it turns out. The big change is now, and it really is only going to be a big change if you use an iPhone or an iPad. Do you use either of those?
My wife has the new iPhone 6.
Yeah. So what they've done is that they've made it so that the iOS devices and the OS 10 devices, the mobile devices and the desktop devices, interoperate in interesting ways. For instance, messages, if you get a message on your phone now pops up on your computer and you can respond to it on your computer. You can make a phone call from your computer that uses your iPhone. So there are things that happen now that I think are good, I think are useful. I think Yosemite is going to be a worthwhile upgrade. It's just that one shouldn't rush into an operating system upgrade. It's always a good idea to wait a little bit.
Okay, so you know that there's more than the iPhone integration that Yosemite is going to have with it.
Well, it has a very different look, so you'll immediately see that it's a flattened look. The icons are flat. I think it's pretty, but it can be a little disorienting. They have added considerably to the notification screen. It's more frankly, like an iPhone, where you see your calendar, you can see your stocks, you can see weather, You can respond to messages right there in the notifications bar. There's kind of some nice features to it. I think it's worth doing. And usually operating system upgrades fix problems, add to the capabilities. They're worth doing. They fix security issues. Apple gives it away. It's free, so there's really no disadvantage to installing it. Just don't be the first on your block. Be the second on your block. I'm using it now. That's my job, right? I have to install it, and I install it on all of my machines. I've installed it on 5 machines now just to see. In fact, I used the pre-release beta. That's one reason why I think Yosemite will be pretty reliable, is that millions of Apple users have been trying it out for the last 6 months. They did what's called a public beta. Microsoft does this now too. In fact, Microsoft really pioneered this. They did public betas of Windows 7 and Windows 8, so people could try it. And and people love trying the next new thing. In the process of trying it, they're giving Microsoft or Apple a lot of information about compatibility. Microsoft has a much hairier problem to deal with. Windows runs on an almost infinite variety of hardware. Apple's only run on Macintoshes. That's the only thing Apple has to worry about. So if they make it work with the limited population of different kinds of Macs, they're happy. I think your iMac, it's a late model iMac. It's only 2 years old. It's what I'm using, as a matter of fact. This should work just great with Yosemite, and in some ways you'll see some improvements. Just don't be the first. Katie in Arlington, Texas. Hi, Katie.
Hey, Leo. I'm a big fan from the Screensavers days.
Thank you.
Great to talk to you.
Nice to talk to you.
I am a web developer who has the luxury of working from home, and sometimes I want to change the scenery. So I'd like to know what's the best, most secure way to connect to the internet from, say, a coffee shop or a library.
Yeah,
I'm not doing anything, security intensive. I'm not, doing my banking or anything like that. But
right.
I don't want people to be able to intercept anything that I'm accessing.
Yeah, for most of us, the stuff that we want to be secure is anyway. The banking is secure because it's using HTTPS. When you look at the browser, you see that, this because you're a web developer, it's using something called SSL. That's secure in any environment, including a coffee shop. So you don't really have to worry about Amazon or your bank. And if you've got a good email provider like Gmail, for instance, Google's mail service, that's also protected. The big one is you want to make sure that your email login is protected, things like that. But you're a web developer. You understand that. You understand that the stuff the secure transaction stuff is protected. But you say, I don't want anybody seeing what I'm doing for confidentiality reasons.
Right, exactly.
So that's a different thing. And I say this because most people listening don't need to go this extra step. They just have to be aware that if you're not in a secure environment, that people can see what you're doing in the coffee shop. You're broadcasting. You're sending the Wi-Fi signals all around. Same thing if you're staying in a hotel, even if you're using a wired connection. That hotel is a single network. Everybody else can see you. Things like that. So in that case, we use something called a virtual private network. And what a virtual private network does is you use your computer and you run some special software on it to log into a VPN server. That can be at your home. That could be at your work, or you can use somebody who's running a managed hosting service that has a VPN hosting, usually it's OpenVPN server, and you would log into that. And then that means whatever is happening in between you and that server, wherever that is happening through an encrypted tunnel. It's hidden. People can see that you're connected to a VPN server, but they can't see anything that's going on inside.
Okay, yeah.
That's what you want. There are companies that do this. They do Open VPN hosting. There's tons of them. There's Hotspot VPN. We have a sponsor that we use, ProXPN. All of these will charge you a few bucks a month, $5 to $10 a month. You'll log on to their servers, and then from there, you still have to get it out into the public internet, understand, because the other end of your conversation doesn't know about this, doesn't have,
right.
So you haven't pre-negotiated some sort of security. Now, for you and your clients, you may want to run a VPN server at your office and let them log in, and you could use it. And that way, that whole thing is private. Depends, who your clients are. But if they really want privacy, that would be a good solution. Setting up an open VPN server is free, but non-trivial. You have to know what you're doing. You have to open up ports, things like that, but you can do it. There are many, many, many VPN hosting services. The one thing to be aware of is it often slows down your connection because you're not now just going directly to yahoo.com from the coffee shop. You're going to the VPN server and then from the VPN server to yahoo.com, and that's going to add a hop or 2 or 3. And we'll slow down service. But, boy, that's the way to protect it. Open VPN. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I haven't seen him in chat, and I don't remember what he said. I think he's busy.
Okay. Yeah,
Did he say anything last week, Chris Marquardt, about being on? Oh,
we might want to let Nathan know so he doesn't play the music.
Yes, Nathan, no need to play the photograph music. The Kodachrome music.
Where could he be?
Oh, he does workshops. He might be moving. I can't remember. I seem to remember he wasn't going to be on, but I don't remember why I think that.
Me neither.
Me neither.
But the move wasn't supposed to happen for a while? I forget.
I can't remember.
Damn it.
This is what they were so nice. George and Isabel said. George said, "Are you a genius?" He says, "You have a very good memory." I said, "I don't remember stuff."
Sugar.
Sugar. Can't. And you would be, and your name is Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888. Ask Leo. Aaron Sorkin has been writing a movie about Steve Jobs based on the Steve Jobs biography. It's been 3 years since Mr. Jobs passed away, leaving a big hole in the tech industry. He was certainly a character, not a perfect individual, but his creations, the stuff he shepherded to market really changed the world, both the Macintosh, the iPod, the iPhone, and the iPad. All products that will be remembered as transformational. So they're making a movie about him. I don't know how good it's going to be. I love Aaron Sorkin. I'm a fan of his writing. But I also know he really isn't a fan of technology, so I don't know how this is going to work out. But they have announced that they think anyway they're talking with, who would you cast as Steve Jobs in a movie like this? Sorkin has mentioned that the structure of the movie is going to be flashback. He loves those flashbacks. There'll be 3 main scenes. Each of them will be Steve Jobs backstage at one of these big product announcements. He was so famous for. And I presume that I presume that there will be flashbacks from that point. But who would you get to play that intense, iconic, brilliant but flawed human being? Well, they're talking to the perfect guy, and my partner and colleague Sarah Lane, who does our iPad show on our podcast network, she said it. She said, "You know who would be great? Christian Bale. He's got that intensity. He's got that look in his eye. That kind of like he might be kind of crazy, He cares so much." So apparently they're talking to Christian Bale, and I think that is a very good casting choice. There is somewhat of a physical resemblance, but in these movies, that's not the most important thing. You got to capture the person's spirit, and this was a complicated fella, Mr. Jobs. 8888 Ask Leo. Back to the phones we go. Francine is on the line from Palos Verde, California. Hi, Francine.
Hi, Leo. Thanks for taking my call.
Oh, of course.
I had the misfortune of getting my Gmail account hacked this past Friday, and it's just been a living hell.
How did it get hacked? I mean, what happened?
Well, first, I started getting phone calls from people in my past that I haven't talked to in years, saying that I sent a executed contract to them, and of course, that I had to explain to them that it's not something that I sent.
When you log onto your Gmail, do you see those emails in your sent folder?
No, the hacker had locked me out of my Gmail.
Yeah, that's how you know you're hacked. He changed the password.
Right.
Yeah, once somebody compromises your account of any kind, if they want to own it, they'll change the password. Because now there is a way to get back in. It sounds like you've pursued that.
I did. Unfortunately, now looking back, I pursued it the wrong way.
What did you do?
I had gone on and researched. I was looking for Gmail, like how to contact,
Right.
Gmail. Called a number. Got in touch with, Indonesia, and they assured me that they were the right people that could help get me back into my Gmail account if I paid $299.
No. So first of all, everybody, don't Google these these solutions.
Oh, yeah.
You go to Google. You don't go anywhere else. You go to Google, and Google will not charge you for this. Okay. What happened next?
Okay, so
I'm now very worried. Yes.
Yeah. So then they were able to get my Gmail back up and running. When I had to call them back and tell them that I didn't have any of my contact list or any of my old mail, and they said for $50 more they could get that for me.
Okay.
So then I thought, this is ridiculous. So then, I went back and Googled again, how to get my Gmail information back, and found another phone number, thinking that I'm calling Gmail customer support. There is no such Gmail customer support, just people that want to say they're such on the internet. And, I got someone in, in Qatar now. I mean, these are these far off places. And, he told me that I need to call up and cancel my charge on my credit card, and that, he could help me if I paid him $50. So then it was like, so then I got to be really suspicious about the whole thing. And I was able, looking at blogs and...
I don't understand why you didn't just go to Google. I mean, they have...
I thought I did.
They have a Gmail help center. Well, you'll know it's Google because it'll be support.google.com. And then they'll have a Gmail help center. Don't go to Indonesia or Qatar. Don't go... They have on Google, they have a Gmail help center. So, and you'll know it's Google because it'll say google.com. In fact, it'll say HTTPS, which means it's can't be spoofed, support.google.com. That's where you need to go.
Okay.
Google's reset policy is somewhat limited. It is a free service after all. They encourage you when you set up something that you set up a phone number for recovery. I bet you hadn't done that.
I did, and I did get...
So then that's the system, and use Google's system to do that rather than a third party. These guys might be benign. I mean, they might just be support guys who are charging you. They're not Google, but they may be benign. Did they ever at any point ask to access your computer remotely?
Oh, yeah.
You're dead.
Oh, yeah, I definitely had them. Yeah. They both accessed my computer remotely.
Okay. So not only do they have your credit card, your $200, but they have also had access to your computer, which means at this point, you don't know what else has gone on, because once they have access to your computer, it's like they're sitting right in front of it. They can put malware on it. They can put a keystroke logger. You're kind of done.
Okay, so where do I? So what?
So what do you do?
Well, yeah. So now that you're telling me, now that opens up a whole new question.
Well, you're done. You're done. Once somebody has accessed your computer and you don't know them, you don't know what they've done, and there's no way to find out what they've done. That computer, you should not put that computer back on the internet. Okay. You have much larger problems now.
Okay.
You shouldn't put that computer back on the internet. What you need to do is to reinstall. Is it Windows?
It is Windows.
Yeah, you need to reinstall Windows from a known good source. That would mean the install CD or DVD if you have it.
Okay.
Or if you were given system recovery disks with your computer. You need to install it from a source that is not corrupted. You see, by giving them access to your computer, you've basically allowed. Now they may not. We don't know. That's the problem.
Right. Exactly.
They may not have done anything. They might have just been support guys. Truth is, it's extraordinarily suspicious because you don't need to access your computer to fix this problem. So I think you need to start from scratch, basically. Hold on. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. So basically, your issue at this point is you can't trust the computer. They have your credit card number, so you need to cancel that credit card. You need to either, if you know how to do this, reinstall Windows on your system. If you don't, you need to find a trusted person to do that.
Okay.
But don't put that system back online. No longer can you trust it to do banking or anything.
Okay.
Because you don't know what they've put on there.
Right. Yeah, I agree that. Okay.
To do what you asked them to do, they did not need to get into your computer. So that's why it's very suspicious.
I had 2 people now go into my computer.
Well, yeah.
I gave them remote access to my computer.
It's like going to the front door and saying, come on in.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want.
Honestly, I thought when I look online, it said, you know...
Well, anybody can set up a website. Anybody can set up a website that says lost your and who's going to do that? A bad guy. Lost your Google account? I can help. Just $2.99.
Okay, so I have to go and I'm going to go and reinstall my Windows, and I'm going to cancel my credit card, and then I have to. So then after I do all of that, which now means I have all this other stuff I have to do now, important stuff, granted.
Much more significant than losing your Google account.
Okay.
By the way, if that Gmail account was the account you use, for instance, to reset passwords on Twitter or Facebook, you can assume that those passwords have also now been compromised. And you need to go into all of your other accounts and change those passwords.
Yeah, I changed all my banking passwords.
Good.
And I'm not.
But remember that in many cases you have set up an account with an email address, and then when you go to that account and you say forgot my password, the bank and whatever will say, oh, no problem, we'll send it to that email address. If you use that Gmail address, that's one of the reasons they lock you out of your account, because now what they do is very quickly go to everywhere they can think of, and they're looking at your email so they know who your bank is and everybody, and resetting all your passwords. Boom, 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 boom. Once they get into something like that, you actually can lose control of everything. And it has happened to people. It's really nasty. So you want a quick, if you were using that Gmail account as your account reset email account, you need to go to of course you were. Of course you were.
Yeah.
So now you need to go and reset all of those if you can, and you may find that some of them are locked out.
Okay, well, I did protect my banking.
Good.
And I'll call, and I guess
the good news about banks and everywhere is you can always call them. But see, once they get that Gmail account, they really have they've got a lot of information about you now.
Yeah, okay, so, but, you know, now that I come to think of it, when I went and reset my bank account, I got a message to my hacked Gmail account saying, you've changed your password. Is that okay?
So you were able to get back, those guys at least got you back into your Gmail. You're in your Gmail now.
I am in my Gmail. I do have my contact list.
Good.
But I don't have any mail.
Yeah, so that's probably the hacker deleted that.
Okay, and so my initial question to you was, is it okay now that I have if I forward my hacked Gmail account to my new Gmail account? Is that safe?
Yeah, and here's what you really want to do with this new account.
Uh-huh.
Well, first of all, you want to change everything that's sending passwords to the hacked account. You kind of want to stop using that account. So you want to change that address everywhere you can.
Yeah,
and now turn on second. I'm going to talk about this. We're coming back on the air.
Okay.
I'm going to let you go, but keep listening, okay?
Okay.
All right.
I did do that, by the way.
Sorry this happened. Good. Sorry this happened to you, Francine. That's terrible.
Okay, and maybe if you could talk about how to get rid of I now have Arabic words on my Google.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Qatar. Thank you, Qatar. Oh, Francine. I'm so sorry. Our show today brought to you by, snack time. Where's my nature box? Somebody stole my Nature Box. Nature Box snacks. They're so great. They're in high demand here at the Brick House Studios. Visit naturebox.com/twit, and you can get a free sample. Find out how great Nature Box is. Nature Box snacks are nutritionist designed to be delicious, healthful snacks, much better than anything you're going to find in the candy machine. They're good, they're good for you. They're good for you because you feel good when you're eating them, but they're not, let's put it this way, they're not bad for you. No high fructose corn syrup. Nope. No trans fats. 0 grams. No artificial flavors, no artificial sweeteners, no artificial colors. You wouldn't mind giving these to your kids. You'd be happy to. And your free trial awaits you at naturebox.com/twit. Now, let me tell you about the variety of treats you can get at Nature Box. They've got hundreds, literally. Savory, sweet, spicy, or combine them all. Get a surprise snack. I think you should do that because, frankly, you'll be amazed. They do have snacks for vegans, for gluten-conscious folks. They do have flavors. Oh, what are you bringing me? Is this an flat? Oh, these are good. Yeah. These don't leap to mind as something you'd say, oh, I want a flax fortune cookie. But they're really good. And the flax in there is giving you some nice omega-3 fatty acids. I love this stuff. I am so happy. We get Nature Box. They have a business plan. We get it for work. These are boxes delivered every month to your door. Apple cinnamon crave, sriracha roasted cashews. If you like the spicy, you'll love those. Cranberry macaroon granola. Oh, these are good. It's like a fortune cookie. It's good for you. Naturebox.com. Start your free trial today and get a free sampler box. Naturebox.com/twit. Stay full. Stay strong. Start snacking smarter. Now you're hungry, aren't you? Naturebox.com/twit. You'll love them. Well, I'm going to use Francine. I'm sorry, Francine, that this all happened to you. I'm going to use you as a, I apologize for doing this, but as an example of what not to do. Not because, look at, nowadays, we're very vulnerable. And I think it's a shame. I don't think we should become cynics. We should stop trusting people. We should not let our kids play outside. And I don't think that's true. I think we need to live our lives. However, there are bad guys out there who want to get your system, who want to get your accounts, who would like to get your money. And since we live so much of our life online, we really need to start, and you'll hear me preach over and over again about this, we really need to start protecting our online identities. Very important. And there is probably nothing more important than your email. Just imagine if somebody gets into your email account, and you know, a lot of times they aren't going to lock you out. They're not going to change anything. They're just going to sit there and watch. Because think of what they could do. They could go to your bank and say, oh, I forgot my password. Would you email me a new one? They can do that with almost any account. And most systems will, in fact, email you a new one. Well, the bad guy can see that. He can now get into those accounts. He can get those passwords. So your email is very important. The email that you use as the kind of password recovery email, the login email, that needs to be protected with all your might. Google knows this, and I think Gmail is a good choice because it can be made very secure. More than probably any other email system. Then there are a few things you need to do. First of all, you need to attach a phone number. It could be your cell phone, it could be a home phone. It doesn't have to be a mobile number, but you need to attach a phone number to your Google account for recovery. See, the bad guy probably doesn't have your phone. He might. We're going to do more than just this, but this is a very important password recovery feature of Google. It's almost impossible if you've lost your password to recover it otherwise. Google will make you jump through crazy hoops. And by the way, make sure you're doing it with Google, not somebody else. They'll make you jump through crazy hoops. You remember some of the people you sent email to? They're going to do what they can to get you back on, but they're going to ask you a lot of questions that they presume a bad guy couldn't answer. Much easier, just assign a phone number, and you can do this in your Google settings. It's your Google account. You're protecting your Google account. Boy, for me anyway, everything is in Google. My address book, my calendar, my email, everything. So I have bent over backwards to protect it, and you should do the same, whatever your email account is. So if you're Google, make sure you give them that phone number. That's the password recovery phone number. Very important. You should also turn on, and this is true everywhere you can, and I know it's a pain in the butt, but you need to do this, something called second factor authentication. The whole issue is authenticating who you are. You want to make sure that only you can authenticate that you're you. You know, in the old days, the bank would say, what's your mother's maiden name? And they'd authenticate you that way. That's a weak form of authentication. It's called something you know. But it's something that could be guessed or deduced or researched or found by another person. So banks have stopped doing that, thank goodness. But it's all about authentication. In fact, if you think about it, everything we do, using a credit card, it's about authenticating that you're the owner of the credit card, the actual person. The better the authentication system, the safer all this stuff is. So much of our modern lives relies on being able to prove effectively that you are who you are in a way that no one else could do it. So multiple factor authentication makes it harder for somebody to impersonate you. There's three kinds of factors. There's something you know, mother's maiden name or password. That's something you know. Something you have. That could be your cell phone, or, you know, they used to send out these dongles that you'd put on your keychain that would give you a number every 30 seconds. That's something you physically have. Something you know, something you have. The third thing is something you are. Your fingerprint, your iris, your biometrics. That's something you are. If we use any two of those three, we are much, much more secure. So two-factor authentication is more than twice as effective. Three-factor is almost perfect. It's very unlikely that a bad guy would know your password, have your smartphone for authentication, and have the same fingerprint as you. All three of those, now that's authentication. But let's start with two, because the more factors you have, the more complicated life becomes. Google and a lot of other places, almost everywhere, banks and everywhere, I'll use my bank as an example, will allow you to do two-factor authentication. Turn this on in your bank. So you log on, you go to your bank account. You log on the browser. That's something you know. That's your password. It then says, okay, but before you can access your bank account, I'm going to send you a text message to a number you've already identified as yours. Tell me what that text message, what the number is in that text message, and then we'll know, well, it must be her because she knows the password and she has the smartphone. If your bank offers that, and almost all do, turn that on. Yeah, it means one more step before you can log into your bank account, but it's very effective in keeping the bad guys out. Google offers the same thing. Again, it is inconvenient, but you know, there's a trade-off between convenience and security. And there are some things, like your bank account, like your email account, that you really want to keep secure. Those are really important. And I've explained why your email account is not something to just throw away. It's where your password resets get sent to. There's vital stuff in there. So let's protect that. You could it's in the settings, turn on second factor authentication. You can install on your smartphone, if you have one, an app from Google. Others make it as well because it's a standard called Authenticator that will generate a 6-digit number every 30 seconds for various accounts. If you know that number and you know the password, that means you have the phone and you have something you have plus something you know. You know, Apple's really stepped it up. An effective fingerprint reader adds a possible third factor. Although many banks now are using Apple's Touch ID as a second factor. So you log onto your bank application on the iPhone, and then it says, okay, well, you knew the password, but you got to show me your fingerprint, and then I'll let you in. That's very convenient because it's very easy to do a fingerprint on the new iPhones. You just literally just touch your finger to it, and it goes, okay, it's you. That's good. It's one of the reasons Apple Pay is going to be a very interesting solution. Note that if you're using a touch-to-pay system and you don't have a fingerprint reader on your phone, you can still use it by entering a 4-digit code. That's something you know. So something you have, your phone, you tap to pay, something you know, the 4-digit code. This is all two-factor. 2 is good. 3 is better, but 2 is good. So turn that on your Gmail account. So those are the 2 things everybody who's listening should now do with their Google account. And I know you're going to curse me at some point saying, oh, Leo told me to turn on second factor. Now I can't get my email to work. It's going to take, you will. There are certain apps you have to use a temporary password. You just read the instructions carefully, but do turn that on. If Francine had that on, none of this would have happened. Not a thing. The bad guy would have moved on to somebody else because he couldn't get into her. He probably guessed her Google password. Maybe, you know, I meet people all the time who use words in the dictionary as their password. Don't. I don't care if you're combining 2 words. Don't. Use random characters, numbers, and punctuation as long as you can. Random's good. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, secret questions, terrible. Don't use them. Make up stuff. I'll talk about that one. This is such a long speech, but when I hear a story like Francine's, I mean, that's just a nightmare. She's got a long road to hoe now.
Invent a double life for yourself, a whole other identity?
No, you know, all of this is solved with a password manager. When you get secret questions, have the password manager generate another password and put that in. It's completely random. You don't have to remember it. It's in the password manager. But now when your representative calls, you're going to have to say, well, my high school mascot, C475*593, and that's good. The problem is, if you say your actual high school mascot, that's guessable. It's researchable. It's not a good... And a lot of these people get hacked by secret questions. I think that the celebrity, the nudie hack, that was almost certainly secret. Apple said it was secret questions. A celebrity should never use real answers to the secret questions because there's so much information out about them. Paris Hilton used the name of her dog as the answer to a secret question, but everybody who's ever seen her on TV knows the name of her dog. That's a bad choice. So don't use real answers. Use gobbledygook, and remember it. You can use a real answer that's nonsensical. Potato salad for my high school mascot. That's not going to be guessable. Matt Honan got hacked that had nothing to do with his security. Had he had second factor, he would be okay. But he got hacked with social engineering, and unfortunately, that also is possible. The bad guys used known holes in the way Amazon and Apple did security at the time, they've been fixed, to get Matt's information. So he got hacked. He could have had very good passwords. It wouldn't have made any difference. Second factor would have, by the way. But when I hear a story like Francine's, and of course the first thing people do is they Google help, and then but she's so trusting, she called that person. And it didn't even raise a red flag when he said, okay, I'll help you, but you have to give me your credit card number and $299. That didn't raise a red flag. And then he said, and now I need to get into your system, and that didn't raise a red flag. And it's because she was desperate, of course. She was panicked. She knew that losing her email was significant. Makes me sad. Gmail is well. These guys are geeks. Google's full of geeks, and so they're always thinking about this stuff. So Gmail's well set up for I think for identity protection. Well, and yes, no one can protect you against yourself. Sad to say. See, and if you don't like Google asking you for a phone number, you're screwed. You need to give them your phone number or not use them. If you listen to the show over a period of time, you'll probably hear over and over again, you know, kind of this critical advice about how to secure your stuff, but you need to do it. And, you know, you listen to the calls, you hear that people just don't, and you get so much trouble. So much trouble. If we're living our lives digitally, if we're living our lives online, then we need to understand the things we need to do to protect ourselves. Here's another bugaboo of mine, secret questions. I hate these. A lot of companies will use these. Remember, the problem is, how do you authenticate yourself? How do you prove to the company you are you? And as bad as mother's maiden name is, secret questions are just as bad, because that's a secret question. What's your mother's maiden name? What's your high school mascot? Who was your favorite teacher? Who was your best friend in high school? What was your street growing up? Those things, they do because they figure, well, if we do 3 of them and you know all 3, it's got to be you, right? No. Because it's guessable, it's researchable, unless you use nonsense answers. So do this for me. When you do this first of all, companies shouldn't use secret questions. They are just ripe for what we call social engineering. A lot of hackers aren't good maybe with computer code, but they're great on the phone. And they can pose as you, they can pose as somebody else, they can tell a sob story, they can convince an operator to give them a password in many cases. So you want to make this as hard as possible for these we call it social engineering. They're clever social engineers. Probably because they're sociopaths, right? Who is a better social engineer than a sociopath? Someone who has no conscience, no moral compass. They learn very young how to manipulate people's emotions because they have none of their own. They have no feeling. These make excellent hackers. They know how to play the game of human emotion. They're very good at that simulation. So they call an operator. The operator says, well, what's your dog's first name? And, you know, they're willing to call again and again until they get it right. So make sure when the secret question is, what is your dog's name, you either use something completely nonsensical. The key is you got to remember it, right? So put it in this is why a password vault is so useful. It's a secure store for all this most important stuff. Put it in your password vault. Here's the answers to the secret questions. High school mascot, potato salad. Dog's name, Roger Corman. Street address growing up, the Avenue of Hard Knocks. Actually, don't use that. That's a good one people might guess. Use something really weird. Don't even use a street name. Burrito McQueen. Doesn't, you know, no one's going to guess when they say, what's the street you grew up on? They're not going to guess Burrito McQueen. Now, the problem is, nor are you, so you better make sure you put it somewhere that you can look it up. And again, a password vault, very, very useful. All password vaults not only will store passwords, they'll store secure notes. Put your social security information there. Put your passport in there. That's what I do. My driver's license. Put the secret answers to your secret questions in there. And then lock that sucker down. Turn on, definitely, I have second factor turned on that, you bet. And make sure that you have a very long, strong password that you remember. Have it in your head so that no one can get in that password vault. And then put everything, once you know your password vault is safe, put everything in there. And never, never give up that password. Ever. Jerry, Phoenix, Arizona, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Jerry.
Hi, Leo. Big fan of you and the Twit Network. So,
Thank you.
Happy to talk with you.
Nice to talk to you.
I'm an amateur photographer, and I have a MacBook Pro, and I thought I'd get real fancy and hook up 2 monitors to it. So I went out and bought 2 relatively inexpensive off-brand like cinema displays.
Yeah.
But what I didn't realize is the MacBook Pro won't power them. Apparently, it doesn't have graphic cards or whatever.
Well, it'll drive them, but you need to plug. What do you mean power? Plug them in?
Well, it's got a Thunderbolt. Mine's a 2012 MacBook Pro. It's got a Thunderbolt, but
so the way Apple does it, really what you want is DisplayPort or Mini DisplayPort, and the way Apple does it is they put Mini DisplayPort over the Thunderbolt port.
Oh, okay.
So in the older Macs, they had a Mini DisplayPort, but they took that out. They also had HDMI on some of them. They took that out. Thunderbolt carries all the video information, but you need the right cable. And you'll notice, by the way, that most of the monitors don't have Thunderbolt in, do they?
No.
No, they have what do your monitors have?
Well, it's a I don't know. It's a I think
Is
it's
it HDMI or is it
DVI? maybe?
DVI? Okay, so that's good. That means it takes a digital input. Thunderbolt, mini DisplayPort, these are all digital, but you need to have the converter that takes whatever the laptop's spitting out and puts it in. This is always a problem when you use non-Mac displays or try to use non-Mac displays with a Macintosh, is that Apple, they walk their own highway. So you'll need to get the appropriate connectors. In this case, you're probably going to be fine because these are digital monitors. They take a digital video input. You just need to convert the Thunderbolt to DVI.
Well, I did it on one of them, so I'm able to use one, but when I tried...
You should be able to drive two.
Okay.
You have enough
maybe
horsepower.
The Mac Mini's got the new Mac Mini's got 2 Thunderbolt.
But you should be able to daisy chain. You should be able to, or split it. You should be able to do it.
Okay.
It's just getting the right cables to do it.
Okay.
Yeah. I have on my Mac Pro 3 monitors, including a 4K monitor, 2 27-inch cinema displays, and a 4K monitor. They can drive it.
That's the reason I wanted to do this.
Yeah, it looks good.
Too much.
It looks great.
I'm gonna be like Leo.
Yeah, I could do air traffic control from my den. But you need to, but I bought Apple monitors except for that that 4K because I knew, this is the issue. But your laptop, you should check the specs. What year?
It's a 2012.
Oh, yeah.
There's one Thunderbolt out, but the Genius guy said it doesn't have enough graphic cards, so I wasn't...
I think the Genius guy's wrong. I think it can drive two...
okay, I'll try that.
I think you can drive two.
Just split the Thunderbolt and...
Well, I'm not sure how you do it. You might have to do some research on it, but
okay.
The graphics card in there can, I believe... See, that's the issue, is can it drive that many pixels? And if the Apple Genius said no, maybe it can't, but I'm pretty sure it can.
That's why I'm wondering even if the Mac Mini can. So, but
the Mac Mini is more like a MacBook Air. You have a higher end. Your MacBook Pro is actually a higher end card. Yeah, probably. So it depends on how much resolution you want to drive and all that. But I believe that the 2 should not be a problem.
Okay.
So it only has one video out.
It just has the Thunderbolt out. That's what I'm using for this.
And nothing else?
No, it doesn't have an HDMI or anything else. It just has a USB. It has Thunderbolt.
Okay.
Yeah. So, it's a laptop, so.
Yeah, I'm looking at mine. I think this is 2010. It has 2 Thunderbolts and HDMI out. So I guess maybe they've changed. Apple's always changing this stuff.
Yeah, right. And you can get them different. Yeah.
Is it a MacBook Air?
No, it's a MacBook Pro.
Pro.
Yeah, but it's got the spinning drive too. I didn't get the. It's not a Retina.
I'm pretty sure they can drive too, but you'd have to, look online, find a specs page. It'll tell you what it can do, and then monoprice.com is a great place to buy these inexpensively. You shouldn't have to spend a lot of money on the cables.
Okay, great.
All right. There's 2 kinds of cables in the world. There's cables that are just, that are all digital, and that's what you need because your monitor takes digital input. That's the good news. And, of course, the Mac is outputting digital. So you just need a cable that's like an adapter. And then there's a kind of cable that does that, and these are the more expensive kind that actually has circuitry in it that's converting analog to digital or digital to analog, and those can be much more expensive. But a simple adapter is not expensive, or shouldn't be. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, Apple may have muddied the waters because they send DisplayPort over the Thunderbolt. That's very confusing. There you go, DisplayPort Thunderbolt converter. The real thing is to make sure that it can drive the 2, but I'm pretty sure it can. Dual cinema displays on a MacBook Pro, you bet. I think we're doing it right over there. I know we are. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk about computers and the internet and home theater and digital photography and, of course, smartphones. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere. Now, in the U.S. or Canada, you use Skype if you don't live in those countries. Our website is important. I should say this more often. I don't think I've said it at all today. techguylabs.com. And I hope you'll make a note of that. techguylabs.com. We don't charge you. There's no sign up. It's a like old-fashioned, old-school website where you just, you go there in your browser and then everything's there. I don't even think there's very many ads on it. I think it's just, it's a public service. The idea is every show, as I'm doing them, James DeRuvo's writing down all the stuff I talk about, the links and the answers, kind of as quickly as he can. And then after the show's over, we add audio and video. There's a YouTube video and an audio link. And that way you can jump right to that question, right to that hour, right to that part of the show. Listen, watch, read. You can also comment, which would be great. The more information we have on that webpage, the happier I'll be, because I'd like people to be able to go there and search for, hey, what's the best smartphone or whatever, and see all the thoughts. Not just my opinion, but yours too. So if you don't have to remember anything I say, just write down techguylabs.com, and at your leisure, after the show, later in the week, whatever, you can just go there and find what you're looking for. techguylabs.com. It's like the web used to be. You don't have to watch an ad to visit it. It's all there. Well, David's on the line from Long Island, a regular member of our chat room. Hi, David.
Hey, Leo.
It's great to talk to you. You get in the chat, too, from techguylabs.com.
Yep. Before my question, I actually just want to get a quick note that I don't think I mentioned for the caller earlier whose Gmail got hacked, because it's a pretty important one.
Yes.
She needs to go into her settings and make sure that both forwarding is turned off and that there are no filters that'll forward anything.
Oh, that's a really good point. After you get it back, if you get it back, you want to reverse any changes that the bad guy made to it. And one of the first things they'll do is have your mail start being forwarded to his address or a dummy address. So, yeah, turn off any email forwarding that's been turned on there. Check all your settings to make sure nothing wayward is going on. What was the other thing besides email forwarding?
Well, because sometimes maybe it'd be a little wrong, because you should also check the filters to make sure there's no filters that might try to forward something.
Yeah, that's true. Or they may filter out stuff. Yeah, look at your filters and look. Yeah, I think that's true. Because often, look at these guys are taking over hundreds of accounts a day. Often, this is a full-time job for them, and they have a standard set of things they do to that account to make sure it stays theirs. And so you want to make sure you turn all that stuff off. Yeah, very good. That's an excellent point, David. Thank you.
Yeah. So as for my question, I got an Nexus 5 a few months ago. Love it. I have been doing the dumb phone plus tablet combination for way too long. My concern is that I guess I'm a little paranoid about the battery, because the battery, it's a little bit less capacity than I think most of us would like in that phone.
This to me is the big bugaboo in most smartphones. There's just not enough juice.
Right.
Samsung's phones, and they're almost alone in this, allow you to take the battery out and put a new one in. So when I get a Samsung phone, I almost always buy a second battery, maybe even a second charger, so I can keep one in my pocket. That's not a bad way to go. But yeah, I look for phones that have. I got to have 16 hours because then I can unplug it when I wake up, and it'll get me all the way through to when I go back to bed.
So my concern, and I don't know how much of this is paranoia and how much of this is actually something I should be concerned about in terms of what the biggest battery suck is I know there's a lot of stuff that auto-syncs that probably doesn't need to.
Yes.
And a lot of them don't have anything in the app to let you turn it off.
Yeah.
Is there anything globally that'll let me do that?
Yeah.
And also for auto start, but I'm pretty sure I have to root for that.
Yeah, generally, this used to be more of an issue in earlier versions of Android. Google now has, used to be we'd use task managers and we'd kill all the tasks in the background. That is a bad idea. And Google has been pretty clear that in modern versions of Android, including, of course, your Nexus 5, because that's a Google phone, you're always up to date. So you have KitKat now. You'll be getting Lollipop soon. You don't need to do any task management. But what it is important, I think, and really can kill the battery, are programs like, say, Facebook is a common culprit. If you have Facebook automatically going out and updating, then that's a battery killer. What we want to avoid is something called wake locks. So the thing to remember is that when the screen is off and the phone is dormant, it usually can go a long, long time. What you don't want it to be doing is, while the screen is off, is doing, you know, stuff in the background, like getting your email or getting Facebook posts or getting tweets. Those things wake the phone up. The phone has to wake up, go to full CPU, even if it doesn't turn the screen on, and go online and download it. A modern operating system, and Lollipop will do this, KitKat does it, Windows Phone does it, OS 10, iOS does it, will aggregate all these wake locks into a chunk so that when the phone wakes up, it goes out and does a bunch of stuff and goes back to sleep. What you don't want is the phone to wake up to get Facebook, go back to sleep. Oh, wake up again because Twitter needs some stuff. And that'll, in effect, keep the phone on all the time, and that will kill the battery very, very quickly. So one thing you certainly should do, and I always do, is go to Facebook as a terrible culprit, but go to anything that might go out and get updates. And if you can, in the app, turn off the updates. I always tell Facebook, don't update. When I launch Facebook, update, or I'll update it manually. Same thing with any Twitter or Instagram, any social media program. Gmail, your email program. Don't have it get mail until you open the app. That way you'll avoid wake locks entirely. You may find some surprises. Kindle, for instance, I found out recently, even though I've never used it, is always checking to see if there's anything new. You don't want it to do that. In most apps, you can turn it off in the app. Now, you know, there's Lollipop in our chat room has been trying to get me to recommend this program called System Panel. There's a free version and there's a paid version. The free's fine. That'll tell you what programs are running in the background all the time. That can be useful. A good battery monitor like the GSAM battery monitor will do the same thing. It'll let you know where your battery's going. I use GSAM on any new phone to pinpoint any big battery drains. Even the battery monitor that's built into the operating system will tell you something. But you want to get as granular as you can, and unfortunately, sometimes stuff's hidden under Android OS and things like that, so you can't tell. But yes, you're exactly right. Maximize battery life by eliminating anything that's going to wake the phone up.
Well, the thing is, like, I have, which one is it that I'm using? I do have a battery monitor program, and some of it is just stuff I barely even use that'll be open. Yeah. That's my biggest concern.
So uninstall it. You know,
the weird thing is, like, so just uninstall, because it's like, it's weird though. Like, some of them I don't know why.
I know, and this. So I don't know if you remember, but I got the new Moto X, and I really loved the old Moto X, and I got the leather back, and I was very excited about this phone, and very disappointed to find it only got about 12 hours on a charge. That's not going to get me through the day. In fact, that's a deal breaker, ladies. That's not the phone I'm ever going to use because I need to be able to travel with it and not have to charge it till I get to where I'm going. So that was very disappointing. I really wanted to like this phone. I thought I'd give it a second chance. So a couple of days ago, I stripped the phone down. I eliminated everything except the most necessity, the things I absolutely had to have. And those things I stripped down. I took off I had a nice wallpaper program that would go out and get new wallpaper from 500px. I had some nice stuff. Took all that stuff off. I've got black wallpaper now. That's, by the way, on an OLED screen like this, that's the least energy using kind of wallpaper is black. Anyway, I got the battery life up to about 18 hours, to a usable amount. Now, the question is, do I want to use this phone? Because it won't do any of the things I really care about. But at least I got battery life. So yes, playing with this can help. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Greenify is a good choice. I'm very nervous about the apps like that, though, because I feel like they themselves use juice. The 1+1 is amazing. The 1+1, even, see, this is what's frustrating. Even when I don't do all of that, the 1+1 gets 20 hours. So I don't want to have to, you know, carefully monitor my usage and not install, you know, there's no Twitter on here. There's no Facebook on here. You know, there's no Kindle on here. But I was able to get, I am telling people to use randomly generated sequences of letters and numbers generated by a password manager and dictionary words. Didn't I say exactly that? Yeah, we're gonna solve this. but I think the solution is not for us to have to go, oh, I can't use it, but to have better batteries and better operating systems. And that's the key. I think Lollipop might help. These operating systems are getting smarter and smarter about consolidating wake locks so that the phone, gets it all done in one thing. Your app passwords do not change. They have to the app password is used and thrown away, but you have to revoke permission for these apps. iPhone 6 is excellent. 6 and 6 Plus. I agree. Excellent battery life. GSAM. GSAM. Pretty much. So here's what I did. I took Facebook and Twitter off of all my mobile devices. So I'm not tempted to check them, kind of neurotically. I could still look at them on the desktop, and what I find is I don't even really want to look at them on the desktop. So, yeah, I haven't paid much attention. Every once in a while, every 5 days, I might check. Twitter is now a cesspool. I don't even want to see Twitter ever again. It's a horrid place. Tumblr. Another good one to delete. I'm never gonna use Twitter again. I don't want to support them because I really feel like they are encouraging bad behavior on the internet. They are in many ways single-handedly the source of the bad behavior on the internet. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo. That's the number, 888-827-5536. Yeah, there's all the iPhone people are listening to us say, well, here's how you get better battery life on Android, and going, what? What are you? The iPhone just does it. And actually, I have to say, the iPhone 6 Plus, of course, with its massive battery, but even the iPhone 6 get excellent battery life. And I'm pretty sure that's because Apple's put a lot of effort into their operating system to eliminate these wake locks or consolidate them. In fact, I know they have. It's one of the things they talked about. And I suspect Google's doing the same, and maybe Lollipop. Every version of Android gets better at this. Every version of Android leaves less tweaking. And I have to say, people who buy Android phones, a lot of us like to tweak. That's part of the reason we buy Android phones, is so we can do things like, now let's see which thing is using the most battery life. How can I fix that? Slim in La Habra Heights, California. Hi, Slim. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi. I've got some very old software from 1992, and it looks like it was designed to run on System 7. And I want to run it on a modern computer.
Yeah, good luck. You're not going to be able to run it on a modern Mac. So what Apple has done is cut you off, basically. They no longer support apps that were written for the old PowerPC chips. Those are the old ones. And they even took away the capability to run Carbon apps, which were apps designed for the Intel chips but using an older system to run. Both of those are gone, so you cannot on a modern Mac. You can go out and buy an old Mac and use them.
Yeah.
But there is no compatibility mode that I know of. There's no emulator I know of. They're just too old. They won't run. This is one thing Apple is willing to do that Microsoft is never willing to do, is just leave people behind. And there's an advantage and there's a disadvantage. The advantage, of course, is that you can make bigger strides towards modernity. But Microsoft, because of their business focus, has been very careful to make sure legacy software continues to run in some form. It's just the way it is. What is the app? Is it a specialty app for your business?
Not really. It's a morphing program. It's called Griffin.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was fun.
It was fun, and that's what I kind of grew up with, and I found an old version of it.
Yeah.
It's like, the thing is, it has double density floppy disks, and I can't even get those to read. I have an external floppy disk reader, but it only reads high density disk. It won't even read the disk.
I mean, this is just the way life is. There is morphing programs. There are morphing programs for OS X, like Morpheus, that will do basically the same thing. I think that's really what you should probably try to find, is more modern versions.
Yeah.
But that's the way it is in the Apple world. And, you know, Steve Jobs made that very clear from day one. It's my way or the highway. And in this case, I guess you got the highway. I don't know of any emulator that will, you know, maybe somebody somewhere has a System 7 emulator.
I found something online here like that, but it's like...
Yeah, but then you got to read the discs. You can't read... Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I like living in the past, but, you know, I guess I'm going to have to put my big toe in the current time.
Join the modern world. Try this. There's a free download of it. It's called Morpheus Photomorpher. And it does, I think, pretty much the same thing the Griffin Morph did. It's, you know, I mean, gosh, the processors now are so much faster. The graphics capability is so much better. You should be able to do that kind of stuff, boom, like that. I remember the Griffin took a little while. Do a little processing. I know I feel for you, Slim, but that's why we use Macintoshes. They are more modern. They were able to move to more modern platforms. Intel, remember, tried to update its processor from x86 to a new architecture, and everybody said no, no. So essentially, the modern Intel Core processors, the i5, the i3, the i7, have exactly the same, frankly, fairly funky architecture that the original 8088 had for addressing memory. They haven't much changed. And that's so that they can continue to run software from 30 years ago. Wow. I don't know which way is the better. I think I kind of like the Apple way. Concerned consumer won't use his real name because privacy is paramount. And that's fine with me. Hi, concerned consumer.
Hey, Leo. How's it going? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good to talk to you.
I'm calling about ATMs and email security. When you choose the email receipt on ATM, particularly at B of A, my bank, but I've heard other banks as well, it'll show your full email address in bold print on the screen for a few seconds, and it's visible from the teller next door or from, you know, across the street with advanced optics, and it seems to me to be a personal privacy breach. You were talking about email importance and privacy, and I tried to bring it to their attention discreetly, and they just blew me off, basically. So I tweeted about it and created a little bit of a PR thing for them and had some favorited jokes and stuff. But then I backed off of that, figured, well, now they know. But it's been over 60 days since I did that, and there's still no statement. They believe that because you can choose not to use email receipt, that is protecting your privacy. But anybody who does choose it, it's printed in bold print right there. So stalking problems, spoofing.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. There's no reason to show that.
Exactly.
You know, in fact, often online when somebody shows you your email address, they'll put asterisks and they'll just give you one letter of it or something like that, just so you can verify that. You'll see the same thing with phone numbers. And why they would do that on a public terminal is beyond me. I personally think getting your email address is not the worst thing that could happen to you, but you raise some good points. What if there's a stalker and it's a young woman and her email address is now broadcast and the stalker catches it and he can now harass her on her email? So I think you make an excellent point. Can you hide it? I mean, there's no reason to display it. They really shouldn't be doing it.
You can choose not to have email receipt as an option.
Yeah, but if you didn't know that it was going to display that the first time, you'd get bit.
Exactly.
So I'm with you. You know, people sometimes think that I don't care about privacy, and I have said, you know, you're online, you're sacrificing a certain amount of privacy. But this is a very good point. There's no functional reason for Bank of America to display that information on a screen in public. Put some asterisks in there. I'm with you 100%.
Yeah, it should be just a simple couple lines of code, unless
it's easy
having to do a whole hardware.
No. It's an easy fix. It's an easy fix. They just they frankly don't care enough to fix it.
Because chip and pin is coming, and they're going to spend billions on that, so this is just a minor inconvenience. But thanks for backing me up. I certainly agree. And B of A Help on Twitter, you know, at B of A Help and at Bank of America, they know me about it, and they should hear from people that should say, you know what, we don't want to have our email addresses displayed in public in bold print every time we want the convenience of an ATM receipt by email.
I am with you 100%. Hey, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. 8888 Ask Leo. What do you think? Let's talk high tech. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte. the tech guy. Back to the phones we go with John in Woodbridge, New Jersey. Hey, John, Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Oh, I'm doing good, thank you.
Thanks for calling.
I'm glad to be on the show. I've been watching you since almost from the site.
The site on MSNBC.
MSNBC.
Wow, that's like the mid-'90s.
It's your voice. It's very distinctive. We could find you.
Yeah, because they didn't really want me to be on camera much on the site, so they made me be a virtual reality character called Dev Null. But that was fun, and eventually they kind of got used to me, and they let me on camera a little bit with Soledad. What can I do for you?
Oh, I probably did myself a big mistake. I formatted out and I did a clean install of Yosemite. And trying to log into my iCloud account, it says I cannot log in at this time.
What?
And I can't do anything until I can log into my iCloud.
Yeah, that's right. You're pretty sure that you've got the right password and all of that.
Oh, yes, because I even did a purchase on my iPhone just to make sure I didn't get hacked or anything like that.
Huh.
You know, I mean, I didn't
weird.
need to buy anything, but I just need to make sure.
That's weird. And you're online, right? You're sure you're online?
Oh, I'm online. I'm actually able to go through the web. I'm trying to do some Google searching, and I can't find anything about it on Google. At least I can't. So I wanted to see if I could pick your brain.
Yeah, that doesn't ring a bell, and I've installed... Now, first of all, you heard me say, and I stand by this, never rush to install an operating system right away. Yosemite, which is the newest version of Macintosh OS X, came out on Thursday, and it's always prudent to wait a week and hear what the early adopters have to say, the people with the arrows in their back.
But they're all crazy.
But I didn't wait. I've installed it on 5 machines. You're right that the very first thing that happens when you install OS X now is it asks you for your iCloud ID. Is there no way to skip that?
Oh, no, I'm able to get in. I'm using a computer, but I can't install any of my apps from the App Store until I can log into iCloud.
Right. Right. And so it's not your iCloud account exactly. It's your iTunes account, which might be the same, and many people it is the same.
Yes, I never really made any.
I separated mine. I have an iTunes account and an iCloud account, and they're different logins and different passwords. So, but you say you only have one.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I think you have to call Apple and say, hey, they probably have a button, a big button they push that says reset this.
Probably.
Yeah.
Do they have permissions that, like you have to authorize?
I can't think of any reason why this would happen, and it did not happen to me. Now, I didn't do a clean install as you have, but I don't think that should make any difference. In fact, that's generally the right way to do it. I did dirty installs. That is, installed Yosemite on top of Mavericks on all my machines, mostly because I wanted to see if there were problems associated with that. Usually if you have a problem, the advice is, well, try a clean install. That means, did you wipe the disk, or there are several different kinds of installs you can do on OS X. Did you do the one where it says move the old system to a folder and put the new one in?
No, I actually partitioned it. And
you reformatted the drive and everything?
Yes.
Wow. I don't.
But at least I have a super duper backup.
Yeah, good. So you can always boot to that and use that instead. I do not know what happened, and I think you need a call to Apple. They're the keepers of the keys there, and I figure there's some way to fix that.
Well, and then also, just for people to know that TrueCrypt will still work on Yosemite, even though it says, incorrect version, or it's not.
Oh, really?
Version 10.4.
Oh, I haven't had any trouble with it, but I have kept TrueCrypt up to date. It's not complained or anything.
Well, I'm just saying, if you try to do a clean installation, there's a couple of Google articles out there that you can bypass that.
This might be the time not to do a clean install. It sounds like.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think that was one article I read.
Yeah. Hey, thank you for the tip. You've warned some people off, which is probably a good thing. I am sure a call to Apple will fix this, though.
Okay, I just wanted to find out if you or your good chat room would know anything. So
looking at the chat room, I haven't seen anything there, but
okay.
We'll keep an eye peeled. Jan in Carlsbad, California, you're next. Hi, Jan. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo.
Hey, how are you?
I took you off speakerphone.
Thank you.
I'm fine. I'm having trouble with my Time Warner Roadrunner email. and I'm hoping you can give me some insight.
What kind of trouble are you having?
This has been going on now. It's random. It's not all the time, for about a week and a half. And I've contacted technicians that have tried to do something at Time Warner. And in between, I did that twice. Yesterday was the second time. In between that, we actually have a computer repairman that worked on my computer.
Good.
Okay, well, it didn't work very well. So, yesterday I called back to Time Warner, and what I'm having is I have Roadrunner email. And what's a little bizarre to me, my husband has a desktop. He has the same setup that I do, only I'm using my laptop out in the kitchen. His email works fine. There's not a thing in the world wrong with his. Mine won't load. It keeps saying, I get that lovely little yellow, looks like a yield sign, error message saying unable to load my email at roadrunner.com. And since I've been on hold waiting for you, now another little symbol comes up saying log on, and it says my account and Roadrunner, and it wants me to put my username and password in there.
Yeah.
I keep putting it in, clicking OK, and it comes back like, oh, it's an error, redo it.
Are you, well, there you go. I think it's telling you what's wrong. Are you on Mac or Windows?
Oh, I'm on Windows.
And you're using which program for your email? Or are you doing it in the browser? You just doing it in the browser?
Yeah, I think it's at Live.
Yeah, Live Mail? Okay.
Right, and then even the computer man that got into my computer from a remote location, but we've used him and trusted him, went through and cleaned everything up and said, oh, there's no bugs, there's no this, there's no that. And he put a little icon on, so when my computer first comes on, I can click right there and try and go directly to Roadrunner.
Yeah.
That worked for about 3 minutes, and now that doesn't work either. The little symbols just keep swirling, saying unable to load.
So there's a couple of possibilities. It is possible that you've entered the credentials incorrectly. I don't think so. Sounds like your repair guy would have checked that right away. That means the server name and everything, and as well as the login and the password. But for some reason, the email program is saying, well, I can't get in. Now, that could be that the settings are wrong, so I double-check those. Make sure you got those right. And I'm sure if you call Time Warner, they'll go through those with you as well.
Oh, let me interrupt you for a minute. I did, and they went through, yesterday it was 48 minutes they were on my computer. Yeah. And then finally the technician comes up and says, oh, I'm finding a message here saying that we're upgrading our email platform, and people could experience this
there you go.
Times till the end of November.
Oh, that's nice.
Well, there may be something not.
I oughta.
And why does mine not work? And my
well, you just sounds like the luck of the draw.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, and the bad luck of the draw at that. Oh, golly, that's annoying. So Time Warner's saying, yeah, this is part of our upgrade. To the end of November. I don't think it'll take that long. Probably what they're doing is moving servers. And your account was on one server that's been moved, and your husband's wasn't. He may experience this later.
Oh,
yeah, that's terrible. Thank you, Time Warner. These cable companies run like monopolies because they are monopolies.
Yeah,
and they don't care. Where are you going to go? Good luck. We got your money. Where are you going to go?
Up the creek till they...
Yeah, that's terrible. So
Could I just throw out one other thing that to me is a little bizarre, and you can obviously tell that I'm not really computer literate.
No, you've done great so far.
Well,
hang on. I hear the magic music says
okay.
We got to take a break. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. That's nasty. Thank you, Time Warner.
Managing your company's IT support needs to be
It is possible. So this is what I was about to say, and maybe this is the solution too, Jan. It is possible that Time Warner may do more than simply to log you onto the email. You may do more than simply look at your name and your password. They may, for instance, say, well, is she coming in on a Time Warner account or the proper Time Warner account? It may be that somebody's pointing out that maybe you're accidentally using the Wi-Fi from the neighbor and it's not a Time Warner customer, and so Time Warner says, well, she's not getting in through our internet. We can't let her in. Although that doesn't make a lot of sense, but She might try switching from Live to Gmail, have Gmail. Yeah, okay, this is actually not a bad solution Uncle Bic's suggesting. I'll suggest it when we come back. Have Gmail get your Time Warner mail, and then you get it from Gmail. There is an advantage to doing this, one of which is that Gmail's email spam filtering is excellent. Could be a pop lock. Maybe it needs the, maybe she's not entering the full address, jan@twc.email.com or whatever it is. Maybe they changed ports, although I presume the Time Warner guy went through all the settings and validated them, but who knows, right? It does seem like an unacceptable customer relations ploy to say, well, it may be broken, but it should be better by next month. What? What? Yeah, I'll ask her that. 6890 says, can she check her email on the web interface? Apparently, this is not... Look, here's a link. This is not unusual, huh? Email woes continue to frustrate Time Warner customers. This is in Milwaukee. Time Warner customers continue to be frustrated and angry about not being able to receive their Roadrunner email account messages because of a database problem the company has not yet solved. What? What? This is June, though. This is an old one, but maybe they've got it again. It's an intermittent problem. This is June, so maybe I would hope they've fixed it by now. There's an intermittent problem with incoming emails, sometimes for many hours. It's been reported across the country. Time Warner says the issue has affected about 10% of Roadrunner email account users. There's an issue with a database that's used by our email servers. While we've taken several measures to resolve this issue, we've been unable to permanently fix it at this time, said company spokesman Michael Hogan on Monday. We don't have a resolution date at this time, but we continue to make it a top priority. Last week, customers complained they weren't receiving Roadrunner email on Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, and then the service returned before crashing again on Monday. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Monopolies are a bad thing. And cable companies have monopolies, effective monopolies in a given region. You probably could, use the phone company for internet service, but they have a monopoly too. So I found an article. This is interesting. Our chat room sent me an article from the Milwaukee, Wisconsin Journal-Sentinel. It's dated in June, but it says, email woes continue to frustrate Time Warner customers. Apparently they had a database problem, which they weren't able to fix. And it's still happening. So maybe they have other issues too, and maybe you're just one of those people. For instance, Richard Albers, a Time Warner customer, said, I would rather go to the dentist and have a root canal with no Novocaine than call Time Warner.
That's about right.
Wow. So here's a suggestion from one of our chatters. And I think it's an interesting idea. You can set up a Google Mail account. They're free at gmail.com. And then in the settings, you could say to the Gmail account, get my mail from Time Warner. You'll have to put in all the settings that Time Warner gave you, the name of the server, the login, the password, all of that. The Google account will every few minutes go out and get your email from Time Warner. If that works, then you can use the Google account as your email. In fact, it would be a great beginning to transferring away from Time Warner. Start giving that email address out to friends and family instead of the Time Warner account. And eventually, you could stop using Time Warner email entirely, which is probably a good idea.
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah. So that's one possible. Are you able to go to use the web browser to get your email on Time Warner?
Well, actually, whenever you first turn the computer on, you click on something, nothing works. But then some time can elapse, and all of a sudden, I'll get 2 or 3 emails. But then if you hit the send and receive, then, of course, the error message comes up. And what I was going to ask you about is, I don't know that this is related in any respect, but on my iPhone, it keeps showing that I'm getting emails, and it's up to date. They're not on there either.
Oh, it shows them, but the mail's not there.
Yeah, it shows. Well, right now it says I have 78, but when you try and look at it, you don't see anything.
You get this error message when you try to send, mostly.
No, when I try and just open the email.
Oh, just
I can actually send an email, which is interesting. I can't get new ones.
This sounds like the problem I was reading from that June newspaper article.
In Milwaukee?
Well, they said it happens to 10% of customers nationwide.
Uh-huh. Oh, my goodness.
So, but that was in June. You'd think they'd have it fixed by now.
Well,
but
yes.
that can happen. So, you know what? This is really a great opportunity. Just set up that Gmail account.
And just start using
that. You can in the Gmail account, you can say, collect my mail from another account. So you could tell the Gmail, collect my mail from the Time Warner account. If that works, then you're golden. You just start giving out the Gmail account. You use the Gmail on your iPhone and on your desktop. And eventually you'll be able to wean yourself away from Time Warner.
Wow.
Which sounds like it might be a good idea.
Okay. Well, I'm just glad to know it wasn't just my.
Apparently, you're not alone.
Apparently not.
You're not alone. They've had some sort of nasty situation. And you know, I guess Time Warner kind of told you that when you talked to the rep, and he said, "Oh yeah."
Oh, I'm seeing a note.
Oh yeah, we have a problem. What kind of customer service is that? Yeah, it's going to be broken in November. What is that?
You can call for credit when we know how many days it didn't work.
Oh, Lord. Oh, that's just not acceptable. People people rely on their email.
Well, yes. They do.
Yeah. No, I have Comcast. I don't use that email account because I don't trust them either.
Oh.
So maybe it's time to just use somebody else for your email. Google's free. It does a great job, kills all the spam.
Okay. Well, I think you just talked me into it.
Yeah, and then just in the settings, and you'll have to have all of the information, you know, your login and password and mail server and all that. But in the settings, you can collect the mail from the Time Warner account. And if Google can do it, then you don't have to worry anymore.
Okay.
All right?
Well, at least I can try that, and I appreciate your time.
I am sorry it's happened to you, Jan, and maybe some executive at Time Warner is on the golf course listening to the show right now. Says, well, you know, we really ought to fix that.
That would be great, now that they know that...
Yeah, that sounds like a problem.
Oh,
no, JB, don't worry about it. It's okay. We're just, we're a monopoly. We don't have to. Oh, you're right. Thank you. Give me my 9-iron. Ay. Thank you, Jan.
Well, thanks for your time.
I don't need to fix that. I'm a monopoly. Who cares? Steve's on the line from Los Angeles. Hi, Steve. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
This is Brian in New Hampshire.
Ah, you're in New Hampshire. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. I think I picked up the wrong line here. I pushed a button. I'll get to you next, Brian. Hold on a second. I got to push the right button here. Wait a minute. What am I doing? What am I doing? I pushed that button. There we go. Is this Steve?
Oh, yes, it is, Leo. But take the guy from New Hampshire. It's Steve Martin calling you. I was going to...
Steve's so funny. He says, I don't want to get in the way. You're talking to real people. I don't want to bother you. Come on, Steve. It's okay. I'll get the guy from New Hampshire in a minute.
Oh, but you don't have much time left. Well, maybe if I talk fast.
Yes, talk as fast as you can.
Well, I try to, Leo. I try to.
Hey, first of all, congratulations. Saw the review in the New York Times for Bright Star. Wonderful show going on right now at the Old Globe in San Diego.
Well, thank you very much, but who cares about that when I've got computer problems?
What's the matter?
You know, I switched over to a Surface Pro, which I really like.
By the way, yes, Steve loves his Surface Pro 3.
I do, because it's very lightweight, it's very portable, and it's got a great docking station. And I'm making no money from this ad.
Yeah, did you actually buy it, or did they just send you?
No, I bought it. No, I bought it. I'm like you. I buy everything.
Quality fella.
Yeah, they do that to people like Rihanna. They give them.
Yeah, and then she uses an iPhone to tweet about it.
Right. But I'm having a horrible time with iTunes to the point where I think I have to abandon it. And every time I go on, because I write music. And I record songs on my iPhone, and I put them in a little playlist and everything. But now with the new Surface Pro and the new Windows 8, iTunes is not remembering my playlist or even any of my songs, and I've gone through the pain of locating all the files. It says iTunes unable to locate these files.
Is it losing the playlists, or is it actually losing the music?
It's losing both. Losing the playlists and the music. And I go to the trouble of locating them all back, and then I cancel out of iTunes, and the next day I come back, and it's forgotten them all again.
I have to say, iTunes on Windows is about the worst possible combination. And I don't know if it's...
you tell me.
I don't know if it's Apple not wanting to support Windows right, or if they don't know what they're doing, but it's always been kind of a mess. There are better solutions
what I need.
For media libraries. There's one I like a lot called Media Monkey.
Well, sounds like trouble, but I'm going to write it down.
MediaMonkey.com. It will import all your iTunes stuff. So don't erase iTunes. Don't get rid of anything.
No, I won't.
Yeah. And get Media Monkey on there and have it import everything and then just check to see. It will sync with your phone. I know you use both Android and iPhone. It'll sync with both of those.
Mm-hmm.
It will let you manage the playlist. See, the key here is you're doing stuff it's your own music, right? It's not CDs.
Right.
So you really don't want to lose that.
I don't. I've got to keep it all organized. And one of the things I tried, I thought, well, maybe I'll just give up and use the Windows media player, but it wouldn't play the songs I recorded on my iPhone.
That may be. Try Media Monkey. Seems to be more compatible.
I'm going to do that. I'll talk to you later. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Steve. Great to talk to you. I'll talk to New Hampshire some other time. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. He's so self-deprecating. He says, "Oh, I don't want to get." He's so adorable.
Did he really leave? Oh.
Steve is he's so sweet. He's not. I've never met anybody who could totally play the movie star, and everybody would just go, "Yeah, you're Steve Martin. You played the movie star. We bowed down to you." And yet I said, "You call the radio show anytime." I gave him the hotline number. You can call the radio show anytime. He said, "Well, I don't want to get in the way of real people." What are you? Chopped liver? What? He's a real... and he could pull the... I'm Steve Martin. He could pull that card. He never does. Very sweet fellow.
I think he just cured my cold.
I know. Isn't he a doll?
Hot. And he remembered my name. You must have said something.
He listened. He's an avid listener.
He goes, "Is this Heather?" I'm like...
Oh, I'm so glad he called. I'm so glad he called.
I'm going to go home and kiss my record album that has him on it with the...
When we had him on Triangulation, I said, "I'm such a fan." He says, "I don't believe in fans." I said, "Well, but I am a fan here." "Yeah, I don't believe in fans. There's no..." I said, "Well, I like your work." He said, "That's okay." Oh my God. It's funny is I was watching National Lampoon's Vacation last night. I don't know why. I just wanted to see this old movie with Chevy Chase. And I didn't know this, but John Hughes wrote that movie. That was one of John Hughes's first motion pictures of Breakfast Club and all that. And then I saw, well, what's going on back there? What are we doing back there? And then there's something going on back there. They're carving a pumpkin. So, and then but then I was looking at Planes, Trains. I think it was Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. John Hughes also wrote that.
Oh, weird.
Is that right? Am I getting that wrong?
We thought all he did was Molly Ringwald movies.
Yeah. Anyway.
With 80s soundtrack. I mean, the music was always important in those teen movie flicks,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey, 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 hey. Whoa. So is Media Monkey, chat room, you agree Media Monkey is probably the best choice? What other playlist programs are there? So you understand what Steve is doing. He's probably playing the banjo into his iPhone and recording that music. I know that's how he made the last album. He would record a melody and then on the iPhone and then send it to Edie Brickell, and then they would go back and forth. She would write lyrics and they'd go back and forth. Do you think that's Media Monkey be the best choice for that? I mean, my problem is I don't use Windows very much, so I've recommended this for years. And it's kind of like iTunes. Yeah, the Winamp got sold, and I don't know. I think, yeah. So the chat room seems to agree that Media Monkey's the best thing on Windows. I've used Double Twist, but that's more for people who want to sync. People just want to say nice things about Steve. Clementine. So Clementine's an interesting story. That is a port or a fork of the open source Songbird, which is a Mozilla product. I don't know if I'd recommend Clementine. I think Media Monkey's the one to do. It's free to try. And Steve, if you're still listening, just keep Media Monkey, keep iTunes around, and then Media Monkey should work fine. But don't, rely on it until you... It wouldn't play the iPhone. See, is he using Sound Recorder? What does Sound Recorder record in? Probably not WAV or MP3 or AAC. It's probably AMR or some odd format. I'm not a fan of iTunes, I have to say, even on the Mac. Not a fan. I don't know what the heck is going on in the other room. Chad's sitting on the floor. Oh, he looks like he's setting up a time-lapse pumpkin carving, I would guess. And is he using a Dremel tool? Yeah, or it's a fork of Amarok. Okay. I thought it was Songbird. All right. I think Media Monkey is the commercial one that's probably the best. Hey, Download Pipe gives it 5 stars. It's got to be good. All right. Now we got, it's Kel in Erie, PA. Hi, Kel.
Hey, Leo.
Thanks for hanging on. I appreciate it.
Oh, man, I thought this was over.
It is over, but you know what? I can't leave you hanging.
Oh, this is a marriage thing, and...
Well, then in that case, I really can't leave you hanging.
Yeah, you and me, we're brothers in the tech world because I've been in tech for 40 years, and here's the problem.
You did something. I know, because I've been there. You did something for your lovely wife.
Yes.
You wanted to help her.
Yes.
And you screwed something up so badly you're going to be sleeping on the couch tonight.
Royally.
What'd you do?
Well, I followed your advice.
Oh, it's my fault. We are brothers.
No.
Now I'm sleeping on the couch.
It's my fault.
Oh, okay.
It's all my fault.
Okay.
Okay. I got a plan B, and that is reload Windows.
Uh-oh. What did you do? What happened?
Well, I changed her accounts around so that she had a user account that had, all her desktop and everything else.
This is what I was telling everybody to do.
Yep,
You don't want to run Windows as a full administrative user unless you're, savvy enough to protect yourself.
Right, and she's not.
No, this is what I do from all of my relatives. So what you do is you create a new account that's going to be your administrator account.
Mm-hmm.
And you make that the administrator account. Then you log into it. And you downgrade her regular login from administrator to standard or limited user.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then what happened?
Well, I made a new password that was similar to mine so I could remember it. And I wrote it down on a sheet of paper on her desk.
Okay.
And I was going to go into LastPass and in the notepad add that, but I didn't do that. I forgot about it. Well, meanwhile, that little piece of paper, who knows where it's at now?
Oh, no, you've lost the administrator password.
Lost the administrator.
And you have no memory. You can't remember what it was?
Well, I've tried all kinds of iterations.
Dude.
Yeah, I know.
So which version of Windows?
7.
Okay. There are Windows... Okay, so... This is you're all right. You're gonna be sleeping in bed tonight. Don't stop making up the couch. There are bootable disks that you can boot to that will reset the password.
Yeah.
So you want to reset the Windows administrator password because you forgot it. Now, you might say, well, heck, what good is the password? Well, that's a good point. If somebody has physical access to your machine, you're kind of in doo-doo. So here is reset. This is on a Microsoft site. Reset your Windows password. Let's see. My computer is on a domain. My computer's in a work group. There it is. Create a password reset disk. If you forget your Windows password, you can use a password reset disk to create a new one.
Correct.
We recommend you create a password reset disk when you create a password. Do you have you have a computer, right?
We have a computer, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but you have a computer you can get into?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So there is a whole system involved that will allow you to do this. They have instructions at Microsoft's site. There's a program called Oafcrack, which people are telling me about, but that uses rainbow tables, and that will only work if your password is kind of not.
It's a long.
It takes a long. Yeah. See, a good password. This isn't going to work really well. So there are ways to do this. NT offline password reset. You can Google that. That will give you a way to make a disk. You're going to just make a boot disk that will basically, you boot into this and it will reset it. So let's see. I'm going to the chat room on this because they have more experience.
I really appreciate you.
Yeah.
I'm in the chat room, by the way.
Oh, good. All right. Well, you see the Pogo Stick link. That's a good one.
Yep.
Somebody said he did this. Let me scroll back a little bit because somebody said he did this the other day. Anyway, the chat room is Padre says, "Oh yeah, I just buy a new computer when that happens."
You know what? That was an option.
Yeah, I think given that or sleeping on the couch, you might. Is she?
We'll get you a new computer.
Is she mad as a wet hen? Is she really? Safe mode with command pro. So there are ways to do this. I think that Pogo Stick is probably the one you want.
Okay, I'll try that.
Yeah. Forget your Windows admin password, it says. Well, don't worry. This is a utility that will reset the password of any user that has a valid local account on your Windows system. Goes all the way to Windows 8.1. Wow, I thought 8.1 might have prohibited this. So it's going to clobber the SAM. That's how all of these have always worked. I'm surprised 8.1 still has this vulnerability. So you literally, they have the thing that you just download it. You take a USB drive, you make it bootable, and you put this on it. It runs, and bam, you have no password.
Huh. That's amazing.
It's hard to believe that this still works.
Really? I mean, you know.
I know. You'd think there'd be better security out there. So you can bet that a hacker has a USB key on his keychain with this all ready to go.
Yeah, I'm glad I called.
You're going to be okay.
I've been a long time listener, Leo. I've been a tech for 40 years, and been watching you guys since you've been before the brick house. I have a brick on your wall.
Oh, thank you, Kel.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your support.
I'm behind you 100%.
Good. Well, I'm very grateful to you. I'm glad we could solve this. We are brothers.
Yes.
And you're going to be okay. It's going to be, tell your wife. Don't tell her you called me. Just say,
no.
Oh, no, I got this under control. I got it. No problem. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, maybe, because, I do spend my Sundays watching you, and maybe this will justify all that.
See, honey? There is a reason.
That's right.
Kel, it's great to talk to you. I'm glad I took the call so we could help you out here.
You too, Leo. I love you.
I love you too. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. What a couple of great ways to end the show, huh? Kevin Rose showed this on the screensavers. This Pogo Stick. That's how long. I know Offcrack has been around. And there was Loftcrack for a while. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. I'm Leo Laporte. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, the Tech Guy is just the tip of the iceberg. We do nearly 30 shows now on the Twit Netcast Network, and you'll find them all at twit.tv. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPad on iPad Today. You get your daily dose of tech news from Tech News Today, and our weekly roundtable show, This Week in Tech. It's all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next time with another great Tech Guy podcast. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.